Fortitude. It's hilarious to try to watch him eat food because he has the cone of shame on him.
Oh, gotcha. I'll connect to the speaker in just a second. Can you test out music volume?
Huh. Well, don't know how this session's gonna go.
High and low.
A 19 and a 1.
Didn't you roll something similar to that?
I rolled a
last
19
session?
and a 2 last session, the first rolls.
Hey, you're even more doomed.
Hey, it still worked out at the end, though.
Not really! We're gonna have to go back on the ship!
That's
At some point.
at some point.
With a guaranteed fight.
So,
Why did I see
to get me out of prison.
Okay, update me.
Don't worry about it.
You'll get the synopsis.
I was like,
Pretty much
okay,
what-
so someone's in prison.
I walked
No
through
one's in
Claudio to give you a synopsis before you hear the synopsis. The biggest thing that happened, there's a few things that of importance that happened, but some guards were called due to
I should have
a
played
rather
the-
childish move on both DATH'TAN's
Yeah,
and Duskieren's part, as he did a blood malediction when they're sitting in a bar with no front door, windows, or anything. It's an open bar. So
I thought
everyone
it was
on the
much
street
later at
at
night.
just saw him
Yeah.
cut his hand and begin to do magical stuff. So blood magic. And Duskieren, a ranger, who I had informed Claudio, considering he said he was a native of these islands, knows that casting is illegal. Without a pass, he casted a spell. So some old rickety man grabbed some guards and brought him here. One of the guards was believing the lies, but the other guard, who rolled very high perception, insight the entire time, noticed that DATH'TAN had cut his hand and was trying to hide it.
Well, not hide it, just, stop the flow of blood.
Mhm.
Or slow the flow.
Assassinate the guard that was really good at insight.
You were gesturing
No,
towards me. I thought you were gonna. You were like, we should assassinate Aneth. I was like, what did I do?
Murder
It was actually a very bad moment for Claudio to cast another spell because I was saying that blood was dripping on the ground, and from the ground the ranger was making roots grow out. So the guards thought, crap, this blood hunter's trying something. So one pinned him against a beam with a sword, other had a rifle up against his head, and then the ranger threatened them. So he had revealed that he was the caster, and he casted more spells trying to look like a guard in front of them. And so what happened was Duskieren, which was Claudio, and DATH'TAN were taken to prison for the night. They were
Free
disarmored,
hotel room,
weapons
let's
were taken away.
go!
And so we turned into pretty much menagerie DA as you guys knocked on the guardhouse and were acting as the lawyers. And then Care and Kelsion promised the captain, Captain Jackis, or Jackis,
Jack Sparrow.
pretty much this captain goes, who's the leader of you guys? And so Care and Kelsion kind of go we kind of talk some shots sometimes. And he goes, come with me. Takes him into his office, goes, you know what? I mean, hi. If
There we go.
if DATH'TAN's convicted, he's going to be hanged because he's a blood hunter, and both Kelsion and Care he's not with these blood hunters that is giving the islands trouble. Trust us. And so they signed a physical sheet, which I'll let you read, and they both signed. I'll read it to you. I hereby claim that the menagerie and company will, when called, serve the Bagon Guards Navy under the command of Captain Jackis to aid in the effort against the pirate problem under the lead of Care, and Kelsion. Upon failure, both Care and Kelsion, along with the convicted DATH'TAN, will be punished to the fullest extent of the law, hanging, but will reap the reward of a full pardon with where no ownership or discipline will be held against them. Signed by Captain Jackis, Care, Kelsion Vogner.
Okay.
So, not right now, but when you are called upon by Repton specifically, Captain Jackis, you are to return to Repton from wherever you're adventuring and to join in on the Navy as they sail out to pretty much go do a naval battle. So, pretty much Jackis just had the mentality of what way to better prove that he's not amongst them than by killing them. So,
It's understandable. I heard dice hit the ground.
so did I.
Get that?
I could be wrong, but I think I
rolled
did hear a
dice.
dice fall.
No, I definitely
Oh, I
heard
see
dice
it.
hit the ground.
4 over there.
It's my D4. I mean, unless
Nope.
it's yours.
Okay, so let me connect to your speaker.
Oh yeah, I also made you very confused about notes that you couldn't read because it was in a different language.
Connected to Satyr.
Don't worry about it.
Connected to Galaxy S9.
People don't know. Stupid.
You just know like I got a one-up on you. One day you'll get it to switch for you. Are you still connected to it, or am I? I don't know. Because I think
Galaxy
you're,
S9 disconnected.
is that you?
That was me.
That's with my.
There we go.
So then I'm not connected.
Okay, that's what I was asking. is
Yeah.
I was
Yeah, I'm not
those two
connected.
devices
Yeah,
are-
I just turned off my Bluetooth.
Cool. It's good in case your phone accidentally started playing something. Okay. Music. Gotta make sure all the right notes are up.
It's still recording.
Yeah.
Is that loud enough? We can actually pause and play it to see how loud it's going. It's probably good.
Okay.
Greetings, friends, and welcome to Tales of Ithalian, where a group of nerds and odd ducks play D&D. I'm your storyteller, Jaron Noble. Welcome back, everybody. And I don't think that there's anything to be announced, so without further ado, get comfy. Let's begin. Last we left off, the menagerie had traveled through Repton and found themselves in the Hook's End, where CAEDRIK's parents, Frank and Egna, have run the bar. You all decided to spend some time there, most of the day in fact, where you met a shifter named Askiran, who joined your table, and in this bar is where you spent the day, and even part of the night. During this time, SAAKA up and left Repton itself. She was tracked and found to have been picking up an orcish arrow, something that she had picked up on earlier with her own senses. She said that she would leave and scout for just a little bit while the rest of you do your business within Repton, and told you not to get yourselves killed. DATH'TAN, with ANETH attempting, and finally with Care's help, dug deeper into one of his books that Rala gave him, finding out about a meeting within what is known as the Underbelly, and about a being that is apparently creating sounds that the author and others heard. As night came, however, and a rivalry between sparked maledictions and spells were cast, bygone guards were brought to check the situation, and with a perceptive guard, along with less than amicable responses, it led to DATH'TAN and Dustgaren's arrest. In the morning, the menagerie went to collect their friend from the guardhouse, where they met Captain Jaquise, who was willing to let them go on the grounds that the Blood Hunter and his friends assist in the problems that they have been having with these so-and-so blood-reaving pirates. With a signing of an official document, the menagerie has been contracted by the Bygone Guard. Both DATH'TAN and Dustgaren were released, and that is where we left off. So, as you all will, KELSION, Care, DATH'TAN, Dustgaren, Captain Jaquise, from this bottom hall of the prison, walk into the dark, not lit room with the barrels that surround all the walls of gunpowder and bullets, the center holding racks and racks upon racks of guns and weapons, as these thick weapon racks actually have shelves that hold like what seem to be like small arms, daggers, pistols, things like that. The main racks themselves holding long musket rifles that you see most of these Bygone Guard carrying. From where you stand, from the prison hall entrance, there's the office of Jaquise just off to the far left, and the exit stairs just right in front of you, straight ahead. So as you walk through this wooden framed doorway, slowly go up the steps, Jaquise following, you hear Jaquise call up from behind, Can we have the prisoners DATH'TAN and Duskiran? And Duskiran nods. Duskiran's weapons presented to us, please, along with their armor. You all head back upstairs. At this point, if I'm not mistaken, Aneth had not joined you guys on this. You
It was
asked her
just
to...
me and Care that went to go try to get the idiots released.
Sure, but I'm
Just
saying
walking
in
on
the
my
building.
heels outside, twiddling my thumbs.
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure, unless I'm mistaken, that Aneth was left behind to watch after the cart, and Satyr decided to stay with his parents.
No,
Yeah.
Saedric helped us find
Yeah,
the
Satyr
place.
helped you find the place. That is correct. Okay, so everyone is there minus Aneth right now.
Yeah.
And SAAKA.
Yeah.
Going to do kind of like I did last session, due to separated groups, a bit of a time reversal here, so I can go to Aneth.
No worries.
Aneth, you are right now sitting in a darkened alleyway behind the hook's end. This is where the cart, along with the horses, are saddled up and tied to nearby posts that have been knocked into the cemented ground. You're looking at the stacked 1 to 2 story building and the buildings nearby that are cemented in with darker colored tilings. Looking about, you sit on the same black and white slashed hot rod wagon, kind of kicking your feet. The paint buckets behind you, along with DATH'TAN's bag. Curling around the corner seem to be 3 bygone guard, each one with their visor over their head, the leather helm with the different stacks going down the shoulders, the cloth around their waist, walking towards you, each one with a weapon. The same long musket rifles that you've seen ever since you've seen them the first time. None of them have like their coverings. They're all down by their necks as they walk up, each one clean shaven. They all seem to be middle aged from what you can tell. Some of them look a bit grisly, but there is a woman amongst them, and she's leading the 2 behind her. She walks up. Excuse me, is this the menagerie?
Yes, I am here to stay and watch after it as everyone else is inside, speaking with Captain Joaquin.
Yes, we were told by some of the soldiers to come check the things, as there is reasonable doubt to be had of some of the members of this place. I see that there's not many items. We're just here to scout, check them out, and we'll be on our way.
I don't believe there's anything of interest in the cart, but you can definitely look.
It's just for safety measures.
Not that I completely understand.
We try not to take prejudice, but we are most definitely not exactly friendly with those who are associated with blood magics, as you could understand.
Yeah, I understand to be speculative. I am myself. She says as she hops down to the back of the cart and kind of swings the doors open.
Yeah, the small doors, unlatch them,
Which
fling
she
them
can-
open.
Almost not reach.
They watch, and none of them seem to giggle. They wait patiently. As the doors swing open, they see the 3 pails of paint, along with the bag. She just gestures to the 2 taller men who step up into it. One of them begins looking at the paint. This looks pretty expensive. Where did you get this from?
I quite can't remember off the top of my head. I had left for kind of a personal quest, and when I came back, not only was our wagon painted, but the paint was left there nearby. If it was my decision, it would not be painted so crudely, but that's besides the point.
I quite like it. As for the other one, he kneels down, unlatches the bag, and flips it open. Pulls out what seems to be a thick black book with red lacing. Opens it. Page by page, he begins looking into it. Whose is this? He looks over to you.
It's mine, for personal reading. I'm a cloistered scholar. I got it from the library not that long ago. The librarian was adamant that I keep it on the down low, but since you guys found it, I mean, it's not like I can do anything about it. I figured since there was going to be a blood hunter in my group, I might as well learn a bit about him.
Make a deception check.
Woo-woo.
22. 23.
You see the woman steps up into the cart, takes the book, flips through, hands it back to the initial guard who keeps flipping through it. She picks up another small leather journal, opens it, and begins to flip through it. All of these?
Yes. I'm a bookworm. I don't much like dealing with people.
What library?
The one down the street?
Here in Repton.
Yes. At least I believe so.
You see that both guards put it back into the bag, both books. She goes, confiscate this. This is evidence. We're going to stop by the library before I get back. You see the guard that was looking at the black book picks it up and puts it over his right shoulder, keeping the gun on the other one. As he steps down, the woman follows along with the third member who was looking at the pails of paint, steps down and she goes, thank you very much for letting us know this.
All I must ask is, will I be getting my books back? They were quite expensive.
You will probably be compensated for the money that you lost, but I'm afraid that stuff as ill-found as this would first must be deciphered, and of course the library will come under suspicion if they are within binding. It's not necessarily terrible to have information like this, but the fact that it is so raw and real, not deciphered in any way, shape, or form, it goes into the fact that it will need a little bit of deciphering, of course, to figure out what is within it.
That's understandable. I've been attempting to do that myself.
Most books have to be deciphered because most people in Repton don't speak whatever this is.
I figured that out the hard way after I paid 25 gold for it.
I'm sorry to hear that. We don't really carry the money to pay you right now. But if you stop by the guardhouse later, I will be sure to personally see that there is money ready for you.
Thank you. I apologize for the troubles.
No trouble at all. No trouble at all. Have a good day.
You too. And ANETH returns to her post, sitting on the front of the wagon, kind of rocking her legs back and forth.
The three of them turn the corner. At this point, DATH'TAN, you see Duskiran, who's getting his cloak back on along with his armor. You yourself are fitting your armor over your tunic and clothing. You're handed your large broadsword, your glove, your other glove of the one that carries the small bird on it, small brass bird. You're handed your dagger and your khopesh. They kind of like staring at you strangely as they're
handing me more things.
Yeah, they just hand you more weapons. And right now you guys stand within the center room where this war table was at. That is still covered right now. You do see the map of Totarum in the corner and nearby places the Thalrinian Sea, along with the chest in the far corner. You guys are kind of sitting in between where the lunch tables and benches are and where this war table is at. And then the door is just on the opposite side of this table. At this point, and now going to present time. Jacques goes, so I hope that none of you are looking to get yourselves in any trouble anytime soon.
Trouble's the last thing you want.
Agreed. We will do what we can to not cause too much noise.
CAEDRIK goes, well, in that case, if you're looking for work, I'm sure some of the nearby men could use something. Or, in fact, I think of recent we've gotten a report of certain beasts on the Neuron Highway that have been attacking nearby travelers, so if you want to go explore that, then I'm sure there will be money and reward for it. But something to go look at the board.
Alright.
Besides that, until you are called, you are free from our grasp. Just try not to go too far.
Can do. We're just gonna head back to our cart for now.
Any
Yeah.
plans?
Meet up with the rest of the group and see what all they're interested in doing.
Very well. Be on your way then.
Yeah, and then the board that he was referring to, that's in here or
There is no board in here as you're looking around.
okay, so that's probably a public board maybe near town square, like center-ish. So I'm gonna check that out in a bit. But for now, I guess gather everyone up and then head back to the cart. Or the bar at least.
Both Duskiran and DATH'TAN fully equipped. You exit the guardhouse, walk down the wooden steps into the grass and the small paved path that brings you just out, curling to the main road once again. As you stand there, traffic going up and down once again. Certain people, the attire of sailors, tan skin, rough weathered faces pass you by as you go. You guys are near the center of town. As you found, there's like several side streets and small alleys that turn and curl, but there's 4 main streets that go up and down Repton itself. And as you walk up and down a few times now, you've noticed that there isn't really a town square, as there's just like this one baseline that runs through the center just below the flood wall itself. And so there is like this opening square within the 4 roads itself. It'll take you a little bit as passing by people and just random happenstance, but you eventually make it back down to the Hook's End. You walk by the front of it as you're trailing close, pretty much heading in the direction of the southernmost wall. And then take a left. You are pretty much
Hi,
one.
everybody. Hey, can I go into your room for a minute? You guys get a mask stuck behind the fan in the window.
Sorry about that. It's a bit of
Give
a
me some that from the pain. It's just
whoopsie of an interruption. Anyways, you guys finally reach the Hook's End. You walk forward, take a left, and you're a neighborhood or so away, just a road or so down from this main southern wall. Looking back up, you see certain areas where steps can lead you up, and you see 1 or 2 Bygone Guard looking back, not technically at you, just in the general direction behind them, and then forward back out to the Repton docks, a cannon nearby each one of these set of guards on the main wall. Looking up in the sunlight that's just peering over the wall, shining down on these roads right now. You turn into the alleyway and you see ANETH kind of dangling her feet off the back end of the cart as the doors are open, and she's just kind of looking and sees you guys, makes eye contact.
Well, they're back for now. Bad news is we may be privateers pretty soon.
We also may have lost all the information in those books.
What? The books from my bag?
Yes. And the entire bag.
Wait, did they take the entire bag or just
Yes, the bag is gone. You look behind her and both the pails of paint and the bag is gone.
Wait, they took the
They took the paint?
Actually, no, my bad. Pails are still
We're all better now. We got paid.
We got the paint.
If they took the paint, people are gonna die.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Repton will burn to the ground over that paint.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, the door's open.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It should be at least.
They took my bag of notes.
Books.
Books.
Note to self: cut and post.
There you go.
Yes.
Accidentally leaves that in there.
They took everything. That was in your bag, but it was either that or more suspicion drawn upon you. I took the blame for those books, considering that I am a cloistered scholar. It was either that, or they confiscate the cart, they arrest me. They said we'll be compensated for the books. You can have whatever gold we get.
Yeah, no, I don't want the gold. I want the books.
I can get you more
Those
books.
books worth my lead. Whatever. How long ago?
About half an hour ago, maybe less.
About right.
Roughly. To be fair, you don't know. You were the one in the prison cell, so
True.
you out of everyone would have the least amount of idea. But Kelsion, you figure that's about right as the time gap of getting there, conversation, getting back. Roughly 40 minutes, something like that. 30, 40.
But what I can tell you is if they do translate it, and if it isn't incriminating information, we get the books back. Or I go to the station tonight and I get the compensation. You're actually quite kind.
Look at Care.
Kare's been rubbing the bridge of his nose and forehead this entire time.
From what we deciphered last night, would that be incriminating?
It is not good.
It is very not good.
However, we don't know the context. It could be less poorly taken than what we have assumed. However, we would have to decipher it ourselves, or somehow get the information that they get. This is complicated.
I can perhaps get some of that information if they trust me enough.
Are we talking about thieving?
No. I'm talking get into conversation about what the book's about, and if they can give me any information while I'm in there.
See, Kare kind of looks to the two of you.
This is not my... This is not my personal items or affairs. I will leave that up to you.
Where were they saying that they were going straight back to the thing, or were they making another stop?
No, they're going back to the guardhouse to try and decipher the book. And then, if it's questionable, they'll take it to the library. And from there, they will discuss. So, we could be completely in the clear or completely screwed, depending on what the contents of that book possess.
Quick question.
Yes.
How many books were there?
An
And
entire bag's worth of books.
There were several just loose pages and notes. There was 3 main books.
3 books, how
Oh,
notes.
That bag, that's Rada gave me.
I know.
They took that bag. I need that bag.
If they haven't read it yet, we could try to pull a disappearing ink trick. Swap them out for generic books that look the same on the cover with no ink in them.
Just after we signed a document tying us to them.
You signed a document tying us to them.
That's the
We
privateer's part.
are on call. The menagerie is once again under the employ of the Bygone Guard.
Well, I mean, that kind of clears us from any future suspicion, in a sense.
Well, if we were to march in and fail,
Yeah, that wouldn't look good.
no.
So far, we are on good terms with that captain, right?
We are on iffy terms.
Iffy terms.
We have an understanding.
Then why don't we just go ask for my stuff back? It's my belongings. They're supposed to return everything they took. Isn't that right?
Tell me, did you let them take it or did they force it from you?
I wasn't going to attest.
That's fair.
They slung it over their shoulder without really asking if they could take it, so my assumption was if I tried to ask for it back, that would put me under suspicion.
I'm under the assumption that they had reason to take it.
So-
Your items are not, if there's suspicion upon you, which there is. You being the one opening the door, asking them not so politely for your things back, may not go so well.
How about I say that I can help them decode it, decipher it?
As truthful as that may be, do you think they would trust you?
Most likely not, but it would be another step to get them to trust me that I am not part of the other blood order that is here. Me personally, I've been tasked to track that blood order to find someone.
Have you now?
That's why I'm here.
That's your purpose for being here. You're looking for someone.
Indeed.
I will question you on that later. How important is it?
It is important enough to that the head of my order personally assigned me. And that's bad.
DATH'TAN, as curious as I am, saying these things out loud may not be the safest thing.
Look around, we're still in the alleyway, right?
Yes. There are still people walking by streets.
I'm more
nearby.
saying it more quietly so only they can hear.
Okay, in that case.
Yeah. I'm not like screaming this.
Sure, obviously.
Definitely keeping a lower tone of voice.
I'm interested, but I don't know how this helps us.
It's the only lead I got.
And we need it back, is what you're saying.
Yes, because
CAEDRIK pipes up.
SAAKA, we're here, we could just raid the place.
SAAKA's on her own mission.
and I don't think that would make our image any better.
That'd make me feel better, though.
Oh, I'm sure it would.
What do you think, COIL?
Oof. I really don't know.
Any suggestions? Yours was good. But is that all we have?
Is there a way you could contact your order to get them to at least send a notice or some sort of information testifying why you are here and what group you're actually with?
I put my bag on the floor, start digging through it, take out the piece of paper, and I hand it to Karen.
Am I supposed to do something with this?
Read it.
Is this a letter from King?
Yes.
This is personal then.
Very much so.
He hands it back to you.
Very well, it's decided that we have to get it. Unfortunately, that does not solve our problem as to how. I would suggest that we try to do something to get in good favor. If you could coerce them to make something slip, that could also work. Doing some sleight of hand is possible, but possibly our riskiest move. I would suggest that we perhaps try and do something to get us in good favor.
There is the job board that you mentioned. We could try that, at least get us in good standing with the city first.
Maybe.
Because there's not much else that we could directly do to help the Bygone God without seeming like we're interfering. And until we get called upon to help with the pirates, we're kind of at a loss of jobs with them.
Now it is lower on my list of things to do, but I would suggest that we may want to go check the docks or see if there's a dock master we can get in contact with. But that is now a later thought. Should we at least head to the guardhouse, the square?
One thing,
Perhaps we should at least try words first before action.
we could send half of us to go exchange words and send half to go to the job board. That way, at least we're covering two areas at once, should one fail.
That's fair. Who goes with who? I feel like having us take lead before letting ANETH do the talking in the guardhouse wouldn't be a bad idea. We were the ones that just signed that paper.
Yeah.
And it's my property, so I would like to go as well.
You might not be trusted. It may seem like you're trying to change information.
On top of that, your presence is already under suspicion. You marching back in, standing around slouching may not be the best. I think if you were to go get us a job, that would be the safest idea.
Yeah. Understood.
That then. We will try to find a way to get you those books. Trust us. Duskiran can go with you. COIL, if you don't mind, can you accompany DATH'TAN? Make sure he doesn't hurt him.
I'll keep them both out of trouble.
Thank you.
Great. The child's in charge?
Am I judge?
The child might have better judgment.
It's more or less if I don't know what use he could be in the guardhouse, but he could perhaps help you choose a job. He's always had an eye for interesting work.
I'm gonna take that as I'm in charge.
If you can't keep up, just climb on.
Okay.
Shall we then?
We shall.
Okay, so guardhouse is just a tiny bit what would be northeast of the square. So I would say that you three would probably be the second, as you guys would be the first to reach your destination. So are you going in two separate groups, or are you just walking together until you need to split off?
I think walking together until we split off.
Okay. So as DATH'TAN, COIL, and Duskiran go to the town square, it is nothing special. Repton is a very much kind of just highway-like city. It is not like a single strip, but there is no like assortment of shops or big sort of centerpiece. This is just a literal square that happenstance formed in the center of town. and therefore there are buildings. There are just certain small general goods stores and things of the like, but nothing is really here. Besides that, in the center of town, there seems to be this large wooden board that sits there. 2 posts with this flat planked board that is just posted. There seems to be a few, kind of like 3, that are set up in not quite triangular, but angled just away from each other, slightly diagonally, a few feet apart. As you 3 walk up to them, kind of look, they cut like this figure around the 2 highways that are like going in the middle, instead of just going up or down, just running through the center of town, because there's 5 main roads. You're standing in one of them, and it kind of is like sheltering you from this whole horde of people going back and forth. As you look, there are a few. There seems to not be much of a difference. You can kind of tell which one may be which, as there's just like paper on paper pinned into the right one, and you figure that this is probably what would be a citizen's want, or like please help, all sorts of different things, as citizens of the town are looking for some help or some job, or just maybe extra workers, whatever it may be. The center one is a bit more uniformed, longer posters, even warrant signs, just all sorts of different things, but it's not like stacked or layered over one another. They are well separated, and there's roughly a dozen or so on this one. The one to the left seems to be a bit more of a sailor hire-on, as Reptin, one of its main attractions, is the docks. As you turn and look at it, it itself seems a bit more uniform, but it's kind of in between, where there is 1 or 2 that seems to be tacked over one another, but on the same subject, either being a sailor, a dock hand, helping out with the paperwork, or just even being a volunteer guard of the docks itself. But I'm assuming that you 3 would be interested as you approach in the Bygone Guard, or the one that you assume is a bit more official.
The one that I assume is a bit more official.
Sure. Just for the sake of it, roll me a basic investigation check. This is just kind of what you're gleaning from it. Same with you, COIL, if you wish.
$18.
Okay.
Probably not great because I rolled a nat 2.
That too. As you're kind of looking, you feel like it's not super painful, but you are feeling like weight press against your leg and foot. As you see, COIL's like trying to jump to like look at the papers, but he's not tall enough, so he keeps landing on your foot or toe and like bumping up against your leg. He's like, his head is pretty much just under where the board begins.
Look down.
So as you're looking, COIL, you're just seeing road and people going back and forth, as it is just clear for you. Unless you're doing anything.
I crouch down, climb up.
Okay. He tries to climb up onto the...
You can roll again if you want to, as you're saying.
You climb up onto like my back.
As he climbs up on your back, you kind of feel his claws slightly digging into. It's not like painful, but you can feel it. I got armor being pressed in as he's scaling you, until you once again feel hands on your horns. And
I got a 10.
Okay. So as he's kind of sitting on your shoulders, the 2 of you begin to look. There's a few. There's a wanted poster or so. What you kind of expect of a grizzled character. You see that in the far right corner, there's this much larger poster, and it is wanted 10,000 gold per head. The heinous 8. You see that, and your eyes kind of like dart to be like gold amount is just like catches your eye, and as soon as you read it, your eyes kind of dart to the rest of the board to see if there's anything else. There is 1 or 2 things. According to one of these documents, it appears that there is some trouble going on in the docks of thievery that is happening within boat to boat, as large ships to small ships have been coming in to give supplies or get resupplied, and have left with less than what they started with, or have less than what they documented upon getting restocked. So perhaps embezzlement, or just plain thieving of not just money, but food and water. So could be something to look into. Another one, you kind of heard mentioning of it before. This one looks newer. You can almost like smell the fresh ink, as this was probably posted a day or so. But this one is apparently that there is a horrible stench that has come to what is the western road of the Neuron Highway, which is where you guys kind of were traveling from to enter. But it smells of almost rotten flesh and almost acidic. But according to something, some beasts have been ambushing and attacking certain creatures or even travelers of the road and have been dragging them off. A few witness statements, one or two of them are a bit like what you assume is exaggerated. Like, it was the biggest thing I did ever see when you're like kind of flipping through the packet that's posted up here. A few more were talking about what seemed to be very feral dogs of sorts, but mutated in some way, but it was a bit too dark to see much else. However, this one could be right up the menagerie's alley. Could be something that you want to do, or not. Continuing to look around at this point, you kneel down. You got COIL on your shoulders.
Hey, COIL, how about this one? It's a hunt.
Okay.
Seem interesting enough?
Mm-hmm.
You're just gonna agree with anything I pick, won't you?
We'll get money out of it if it goes well. And as far as we know, they described it as horribly smelly. It could just be SAAKA.
I thought that too, buddy. It's quite funny.
At the end of the pamphlet, it does appear to be roughly 320 gold for the job.
For the entire job?
For the entire job. It is unknown how many there are or things of the like, and so you feel like this could be bartered if it's harder than what you expect, but from the reports it seems to be at least one or two.
We'll keep this one in mind, but let's keep looking if there's anything better. If not, that's a good fallback one. And I keep looking.
Okay. Go ahead and make another roll between the two of you, as there's like that small pause to pick each other up. We'll pick COIL up.
6 again.
Okay. I'll do this as like a collective roll between
7.
the two of you. Okay, yeah, I'll make sure it's a collective roll. Make sure you guys see something.
I'm either focused on the hunt one or the heinous thing.
Yeah. Your eyes keep darting back and forth.
Oh, and
No, he's like, look at the handiwork of these thumbtacks.
Man.
Continuing to look as you kind of look, top right corner, just a little bit left of it, left corner. The one that's pretty much bottom center is what seems to be a bit of a larger pamphlet looking through, and you kind of stop pretty early as it just seems to be about recruitment to the Bygone Guard, and you're like, well, we're kind of past this part. So you move on to the next one. COIL's kind of like reaching for one piece of paper that you see just off to the left of this packet, and you get down so COIL can begin reading. And COIL, like, Kare's taught you to read. You're not illiterate.
Hopefully.
Yeah, you are not illiterate. Some big words and official words you are having a hard time pronounce. However, the both of you together, as you assist him, get the gist of there's been loud noises coming from certain area of towns, but with no real origin or no real place of finding. Nothing's been found yet. At night there seems to be loud moans and even screams that seems to come from the roads themselves. And something that catches your eye specifically is the fact that the report is having that a father who went to go investigate came home and murdered his wife and child. which makes you think back to those strange guards with the man in the cart that they were speaking to you about. From where you are and the location you said to report to, it is just a few roads down from you. But there is no clear-cut reward, as it is unknown what has happened. So reward is to be determined.
Does it give locations on where these sounds have been?
It has been
from?
from the roads in certain areas of the town.
Okay,
So
so,
it
like town locations are there and on from the roads.
From where it is not said like specifically. It is just saying,
areas of
yes,
town.
through
Got
areas of town, and that's the entire point of there is no point of warden.
Okay.
That this has been investigated and no one has found anything.
And then no stated reward.
Although this is somewhat bad, as they don't know if it is specifically tied to it with what happened with the father and his family. However, it is strange happenstance and a bit more than a coincidence from what you're seeing from this official piece of paper. But with not knowing what even the problem is, if it's not a problem, there wouldn't be much of a reward to be had, is what you figure. So when it says to be determined, is probably how big the job is versus how much you're going to get.
Is there notes of like when the sound started?
Late at night.
Would it have been after they had arrested the guy that was mentioned earlier, like when we first encountered that?
You figure that it is tied to it. This one most definitely looks like a fresher one. The ink is not dried as much as some of these others. But this one is probably older than the most recent that you've seen penned. The last one, which is off to the left, hanging in the center, is pretty much job hirings for any sort of sellsword mercenary that's looking to do some defensive or security duty, as there is certain drilling fields that are just northeast of Repton that could use some extra guards, and that you were to go and personally report to the officiant there.
Well, best bet is to, find out what's going on with this weird noise on the road and the stench outside of town.
Duskiran goes,
How about you big guy?
perhaps we could divide and conquer. So he walks up and he points at the one that you guys are looking at with the weird noises. This is kind of the reason I'm here. I can go discuss with the guards. Maybe you guys can investigate one of these others.
I can go with you if you want.
He looks at you. I think you should stay with your friend.
Okay. Please don't cast spike growth on any other buildings.
I will make sure not to.
Okay. I don't believe him for a second, but
You start investigating on the sounds.
Then the rest of the menagerie can look into the weird beasts outside of town and the stench.
I'll report back to you then.
Alright.
See that he turns and goes into the flow of people just off to the left of you as they begin heading west.
Does it say like where to accept the task or
Report to the guardhouse.
Okay. Yeah. Then start heading there as well.
Are you taking the sheet of paper with you, or are you
Yes,
just heading?
I'm taking the sheet of paper with me.
Pull it, begin to walk, coil bouncing on your shoulders. So, for ANETH, I'll go back over the guardhouse description so you have an idea. So, as you come to the center of town, you are pretty much staring at a small cathedral. It is under the use as a guardhouse, however, a dense cobblestone building looking to be 2 stories high, not counting the belfry. The building is not taking up much space of any of the nearby buildings around it. Sharp arched windows that are tinted a faded green line the sides of this building. As you walk onto a paved path with the deep green grass that some of these buildings carry, you curl quickly to the right to a wooden staircase built going up from the left, leading you to its entrance. A dark and thick set of doors with metal filigree finish, detailings of bones interlocking with one another at angles climbing. As you look up, as you climb the stairs, you see a single square tower rising from the front of the building, having no bell or finished belfry, but it looks to just have been removed instead. It's now a just small, flat stone surface with a tiny lip that surrounds the edges, making it almost completely flat. You do see that it is manned by a single guard that's keeping a watchful eye over the people below. As he looks to the door, gives you a nod, and just continues to look. His gun, unlike others that are up by their shoulders, is in his hands as he just stares down.
I wave at him.
He's gonna look at me and Karen and think, these idiots
He waves
again.
back.
No, I think we're chill.
You guys have done this before. You understand that knocking needs to be done or you're not getting in.
Some losers
Yeah.
as Dwarf read it.
Should you take this?
I mean, Aneth did say the books were hers, so she should probably take lead on this one.
I was thinking just to get us inside the building, but
Yeah.
of course if you want to.
So you could back me up?
Sure thing.
He steps back from the door. The old Yuan-Ti just gestures his hand to the door for you.
And trots up to the door and gives it a very bright knock. Like a did.
Very thick. You don't actually, like, at the first few knocks, you worry that it may not even be heard, so you put a little bit more of a wrapping on it by the end of your little pattern. The door, and you see the same tan-skinned woman, still her helmet's on. She goes, "Yep. Hello."
Hello.
Oh, my.
I'm down here.
Yes.
Sorry.
No problem. You're not impossible to see. I thought I saw these two earlier.
You did.
Do you need to speak to Chikisa again?
No, this is matters regarding her. She has questions.
Is this another member of the menagerie?
Yes, she just has some question about some materials.
Name?
I'm Kelsion with Aneth.
We've done that with the two of you.
I'm
Name?
just making
Aneth
sure.
outstretches her hand and she's like, Aneth Unbelief.
She takes it, shakes it a little bit hesitantly. One moment. She closes the door.
I don't think that went well.
This is what happened the first time.
As Kerr tucks his hands into his large pockets of his overcoat, you all sit there. Once again, it's a tiny bit of uncomfortable weight. You feel like you could be being ignored, and then the door opens. You're wanting your pay?
More of a discussion of such.
About?
The books.
Is this something you're wishing to take up with the captain? Because he is a little bit busy at the moment.
If it's needed to, I can discuss it myself. I just brought my friends along because, better safe in numbers, especially in a place like Repton.
Of course. We do our best to keep it safe.
Thank
Sergeant Hisela is still out with the contingent of men, and Jaquise is a little bit busy at the moment, so I'm afraid I will have to do. Come on in.
you. And I follow her.
She leaves the door open enough that you all enter. Upon entering it, once again, you see the familiar setup, lighter shaded wooden floorboards that are, as you notice, Aneth, almost pristine, looking to be cleaned often and regularly. Walls of this room are scarce, save for just a few simple things. Hanging in the center of the left wall, draped over a window, is a flag of the Bygone Guard, the 2 torches that rest on either side of the skeletal T-Rex skull. It's nailed into the 4 corners of the wall over the window, giving just a faded light pouring in. In the near right wall's corner, you see the frame map of Totarum, hangs just above the large, robust, closed chest, it too looking freshly cleaned and taken care of. And in the center of this room, once again, you see a blanket, just this deep, dark blanket being tossed over what looks to be a war table. A much larger and more detailed map of Totarum is being pinned to it. You do notice, Kelsion, that there are several dark needles and scrawlings and writings that have been put onto this map specifically. But as soon as you enter, it's tossed over. Behind this table, there's a stretch of wooden lunch tables and benches placed pretty close in it. A small fire pit of stone in the center of all these tables holds a metal spit and a hanging pot, a place for these soldiers to eat a cooked meal for themselves. And then to the left far corner of this room, there's this stone staircase that is leading upward, and in the far right corner, there's a stone staircase leading downward. And so this place is not massive, but it holds enough room as the tables are placed in between these 2 staircases. The woman turns around, crosses her arm, and leans back against the table. How may I help you?
First of all, I must say, it's gorgeous in here.
Uniform helps make this.
Well, it's quite quaint. Anyways, I'd like to discuss, if it is allowed, the contents of the books. Is there anything you found out that might be of importance to my inquiries?
No, we're still waiting for someone to come to decipher. We're holding them. It's been maybe an hour.
Well, yes. I was wondering if there isn't any concerning information in those books. Is there a possibility that there might be someone I can consult with on the contents of those, or if there could be a day that we could set up for me to come in and just kind of get the gist of what the books are about? My curiosity is killing me, and it's quite disheartening that I won't be able to lay my eyes upon it myself to discover the contents of that book, those books.
Woman kind of stands up to her full height, now no longer crossing her arms. She goes, if there is things of suspicion or notes of trouble, we will be holding on to them to gain the information that we need. Afterwards, it would be taking it up with someone a bit higher the totem pole than I. I can mention this for you. I would not expect to be getting it back for a little bit. If there is nothing to note or nothing to be panicked about, I don't see why it wouldn't be alright to give it back to you. However, it was just strange to see something without deciphering of such darker nature, especially coming from our libraries, right under our noses. Which that's being investigated, so we have some guards going through there. I would say no matter what, it will take time, but should we be complete with our business, you can return and see if you can't get those back. But for right now, I would say that would be near impossible.
Okay. So this brings me to my next question and my final question. Would I be able to get the compensation now? And if the books come back with no incriminating information, would I be able to then pay that compensation back to get them returned? Because I don't want to leave here empty-handed, in a sense, not in a way that would be accusing to you. I just,
I would say that would probably be the best protocol to take, yes. I would think that if it is convinced that you can have them returned to you, you can simply just pay back the compensation. As we do not know the nature of it, we don't know how expensive the information is, but we are just going to give a fair price. We were going to give you 42 gold for it.
I'd say that's a pretty good amount. And then, how will you be getting in the contact with me?
Well, considering that you're on call, I would assume that when we call you, if we have information, or at least status update on where we are with deciphering, I can have perhaps Sergeant Casella let you know.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Then that is the end of my inquiries, unless either of my crewmates would like to say anything.
Would it be possible for us to lend our service and to help with the decryption to make it go by faster?
Do one of you know how to read this?
I haven't seen the book, so I think Care would probably speak up here.
Look, as you kind of look over to Care goes,
Yes, I have an understanding of parts of the languages spoken there.
well,
I have an understanding. There are several languages being used in some of these texts, and I only know parts of how to do it.
well, I would say that that could be only partly helpful. So the decipherer we have would probably be an expert in any of the languages that will be there. So, thank you, but if you can only be partially useful, then I don't see much point in putting you to task. He looks over to you. Looks back.
Understood.
The woman looks to you, and she goes, "Can you read the books?"
I had made an attempt. Unfortunately, I'm not as versed as I thought I was. I still have a lot to learn, despite the fact that I've spent many of my years in a place where I can study. I have retreated for a while with a small group of other people, like-minded officials, and they had given me access to information that I did not use at the time. And so while I have a very, very mild understanding, it would take me a little while spent either in the library or in solidarity to understand it. In isolation.
Looks to you. Alright. Is that all?
I would be willing to offer my help if you are willing to take it. But if not, and if
You have to understand is that I've been here a little bit, but I am a bit more than just a private. I do not have any authority to give you a pass. I can ask, bring this up the chain for you, but this is no decision I can
I would appreciate that. Again, if it's not something that they want or not something that they feel comfortable with, just, keep me posted so I'm not in the dark about this. But for now...
make. Well, the menagerie is under our employ, so as you come in and out of contact with us, if you speak to the right people, I'm sure that they can give you information.
Well, I appreciate that. Then I don't have anything else to bring up. Would we like to get on the road?
That exhausts all my inquiries. I don't know about these two.
Kara looks and shrugs at you and goes,
That was all I had. Thank you for your time.
And your patience. With that, and it kind of takes a step back. Like, I'm done here.
I'll turn to start heading out the door.
at this point, Daphne, as you're coming up the steps, the door opens and 3 of your acquaintances, KELSION, Care, and ANETH, are exiting. The guard nodding as you go, and she closes the door behind you.
I never caught her name. I say as the door's closed.
It's fine. For now, we don't really need to know their names.
See, but it would have been nice if they reached out. I could be like, oh yeah, I talked to so-and-so about helping, decode the books.
Last time we just gave a description of someone and they got us to the right person.
Take it from someone who's been places. It's good to know people, especially when those people are people you are employed by. It's good to know names.
I'm good with faces, not names, so I see names as slightly irrelevant when I have very little contact with that person.
I turn to the guard outside. What do I do with this? Do I just knock and say I'm accepting a job, or?
Well, you're on the stairway heading up to the door. There's
Yeah,
no
yeah.
guard.
No,
You're
you're
like,
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
Don't
waving
do it.
at
I
the
thought there was a
guard.
guard station outside.
Yeah, up on the bell.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then
so
no.
if you're
Then
doing
I
that,
just
it's
brush
waving
by
a
these.
sheet of paper.
Yeah. I just brush by these guys and knock again.
You see that he's carrying a piece of paper.
What's the job?
As you
Hold it behind me, just so you can read it.
As you begin to rap, you guys hear, "Stop!" As you turn, you look and you see the short but hulking muscled half-orc staring at you, somewhat scratched up, and you see SAAKA. We have a problem, and that's where we're going to take a break.
Amy, care to explain?
Yeah.
Okay, and we're back. Continuing on, as you are all at the foot of the wooden staircase leading up to this stone cathedral used as the bygone guardhouse. SAAKA now sits at the bottom foot of the stairs, right on the paved stone. Her face looks a little bit scarred. She's bleeding from a place or 2 on her arm and face.
So who's all? Are you guys
It's the
all
entire
there?
group.
Yeah,
They're all
yeah.
looking down at you with wide eyes.
He's on my shoulders.
Duskiran is the only one not amongst them.
I think this is the only time I'm ever gonna say I'm really glad I found you guys. I was doing a thing. I was up north. I went north of the highway and then I was up northwest at the corner of Repton. And remember a while ago when we went into the cave and we stopped whatever ritual was happening with the flesh in person, and they were taking the flesh and stitching it up, and we stopped it, and later on we found the bodies. CAEDRIK found the bodies.
The gnolls?
Yes. And so I was in the woods when I saw these beasts. There were like 4 of these huge beasts, like dog-like, with like a lion's head attached to it, and
Were they
they
like?
were
No.
they were bringing this figure. It was cloaked.
No
I
real
couldn't see
description,
it.
just disfigured dog.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Sound like it.
Oh
There's
yeah.
this cloaked figure, and I couldn't see him. He wasn't as big as a gnoll. He wasn't the size of a gnoll, but these beasts were bringing him flesh for flesh, and I can tell you, they weren't giving him the flesh for sport or food. They were getting it on purpose.
Did it smell like acid around now?
It smelled heavily of rot and acidic.
It was very fleshy.
You also were noting that he was beginning to sew this flesh together.
So I don't know whatever it is that we found back there. It
Is
is
the guard
here
up
now.
top here hearing all of this?
No,
No.
he's still just looking around.
If we're gonna do anything, we have to do anything now, because by the time I left, they were almost done.
I guess we go do it and claim the reward later.
Yeah, I guess so.
CAEDRIK, who's in the back, goes, "You're talking about the forest just a little north of here.
Yeah, northwest.
That's the thistlewood. That's all dead wood. That place was mined out. There's tons of holes that can be found in there.
Yes.
It
you
can
tell me
take-
that.
There was
I was a bit of a troublesome kid. You could hit the sewers from
No.
there.
Okay.
Take the right paths, you could hit the sewers of Reptin. He could be
You
under
get-
us.
You guys go get the carts.
We're taking the wagon out?
We don't need the
okay.
wagon for this.
I'm gonna accept this so that the guards know that we are doing this.
Okay, don't have time. Take it
I
on
turn
time.
around and knock on the door.
I'm at the door.
Before you finish the fourth knock, the door opens with the same woman who goes, "Well, hello." And then she looks at the entire group, like standing there yelling at each other. One's holding a sheet of paper.
I just got a really wide grin on my face.
I'm just vibing
It's
on.
quite an interesting thing of like Aneth smiling all starry-eyed,
And it is
CAEDRIK,
like,
I'm
DATH'TAN,
like-
and SAAKA yelling at one another. Care, who's looking down at COIL, just rubbing in between his ears.
Isn't
And
Coil
Kelsion, who's
still on
sitting
my
there
shoulder,
just
or-
shaking his head back and forth while like hiding part of his hands. And she goes, "I assume something is going on."
yes.
We would like to accept this one.
Oh,
She takes it. Yes, we've been having trouble with it for the past close to a week or something like that.
okay, great. We accept it. Let's go.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, thank you very much. She kind of slow.
SAAKA comes and closes the door on the guard's face, and she goes, "Oh, okay."
So I was like, thank you, come again.
Okay, let's go. Can we go now, please?
Okay, we're hustling. Let's go.
Okay, yes, let's go.
You see the guards like looking down. You can see like the lip is kind of pursed as he's looking at you all.
I wave at him as we go away.
He just gives a slight wave, turns to his post. So SAAKA, where are you leading them?
I'll take him. Well, I'm trying to say, for instance, you can go through the sewers, because that is not the way I went.
The thing is that there are certain holes in the Thistlewood. Some are just dead ends. They were mined out and it killed the trees, but the trees remained. That's kind of why it's called the Thistlewood. It's just all dead and gray. Yeah.
I get it.
I know. Some of the holes, though, go deeper. It brings you pretty much into the northwest side of the sewers. There's entire holes in them that you can crawl
What
through.
is the fastest way to get there?
We can just jump into a manhole if we really think they're in there, but then that puts us wherever we are in the city, where this is where he's going.
You know this way better than I do. I can tell
I
you.
traveled as a kid. I didn't know him like the back of my hand.
Let's go the path that you took.
Suspicious.
All right.
Saka, let's go the path that
Yeah, if
you
we
took.
just jump in a manhole in the
Thanks.
middle of the street.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna take them. I just start walking away, or start running. I don't know.
I guess we
kind of
follow.
the
With
way
a
I
full
came.
sprint, she starts like pushing people out of the way as she begins to run. Are you just heading back to
Yeah.
Could
Kind of where
I
I was
use
the eastern gate
Could I use the
or western?
urchin feature to travel through the city at twice the speed for this?
Are you personally, or are you just trying to take the team?
If the team will follow.
Well, Sokka's
Yeah.
kind of beginning to go up on
Yeah,
her own,
so,
you
well-
might want to call out.
Sokka, just which gate?
North.
North gate?
Yeah.
Well,
No.
you can head out north, or you can head out west. You
Which I
headed
think
west.
you left through the north gate last
Yeah,
time.
I did.
No, she
No?
headed out the west gate.
I
Oh.
thought she headed through the north gate.
No. You guys traveled east, and so technically went in through the west gate, and she traveled back out that way. That's why she knew there was that stuff there that she picked up. Or Kashero's, that you guys had already
That's
trailed
right.
that road, and she had seen marks.
So, I guess to the west gate.
Yeah.
Which is where
That's the direction she was heading.
west gate. Follow me.
Kelsion.
No.
So, you're leading the march now?
I believe so.
No faster.
Okay, so you have paid attention to the city a little bit. As the people have flowed in and out, and your teammates and the other people of this menagerie have been focusing much more on the sights and the people and just all the different races that have been coming in and out of the Stormstave docks. You've been paying attention to the alleyways, the small cuts, even just if it saves you a few feet. You begin to move alley to alley, sprinting as the team begins to move. You're kind of like finding trouble with some areas, fishing past people that are standing there. No longer when Sokka just pushes them up against a wall and you just begin to pile through. You guys are like this one long running line as you begin to sprint through Reptin. You guys finally reach the western gate, which is open for a few random travelers that have come, which once again Sokka just begins pushing aside. The guards go, hold on a minute! And all of you guys just begin sprinting outwards as they're like, what just happened? You all run out and you're once again on the salt and sand road, and then you're on highway. You run, turn, and you look right, and you see far off what looks to be several hundred meters is just this dead gray and white tree line.
That's as far as I can lead. Sokka, you take it from here.
Okay, and then I started leading to where I was going.
Okay, can I get a marching order?
And then in front.
You are merged over in front.
Yes, on the assumption Kelsion has stopped leading you out of the town.
City of Repton. Like front middle.
So
Okay.
the order might be here.
You need to do that.
What?
Do it now.
Oh, I can do it.
As you begin to run, you're seeing a slowly faded forest of... Oh, by the way, what is the full marching order?
Saaka, Kelsion, DATH'TAN, ANETH?
Aneth wanted to be front middle-ish.
Front middle.
Care would take back.
I can go one behind.
Actually, I'd be on death and soldier still, so.
Vroom vroom.
You're holding on as tight as you can. It's not super hard. You're getting
He's like
bounced
kind of
a bit more.
sideways through my horns, just as a seatbelt.
They're like motorcycle.
Yeah.
Boom, boom. Yours. So for the audio listeners, we have is that Saaka,
Yeah.
Kelsion, Aneth, DATH'TAN, Holding Coil, and Care.
That's
Now, as you slowly approach this forest of off-white and grays, the trees themselves are taking pretty much a dead scent to them. It does not smell the best. The bark is already beginning to peel back on several of these trees that you stare at. It is the smell ripe of rotting black wood underneath of the bark that you see peeling off of it. The smell ripe with dead plants. The leaves of these trees are taking the same color of the trees themselves, of this off-white with grayish growing in edges speckled with black. You notice that there are clumps of thorn bushes cloak and grow over and on the trees and almost make this line that creates a barrier around the forest itself. Some of them grow blackberries. The ground under your feet as you begin to run closer to the forest and then finally reach this front line has turned dark in its color. The dying ground turning the grass into almost a deep bluish gray. At this point you're like looking at this entire line of thorn bushes and you see this section that looks to have just been stomped down repeatedly by what you assume was a following Saaka at one point. And Saaka stepping into the woods and stepping onto the thorn bushes pushes it down once again, allowing each and every one of you, one by one, to pass. Are you holding it? Because it's like kind of rising. So are you like holding it down with a foot, letting them come through? Or okay. So Saaka would be at the back of the line by the end of it. As you wave them on, you bring them in, and it's strange. You feel that there is no magical presence, but that this place is just foreboding in its own sense, Saaka. That as you lift your foot off, it just begins to rise once again with the thorns around it, almost like a wall shutting you in. As you look around, the forest itself is in pretty much a dead and dire state, but it is not without life. The forest proper, as you look into it, does seem to have these grayish-white bushes that what you think is just dead, withering plants does seem to have life to them. It's a brush that surrounds the whole wood, making some bits of travel difficult as it raises to about hip height, but not impossible. Coil, you're glad that you're up on DATH'TAN's shoulders at times, as it feels like you could just be like dragged through what could be very sharp. And at some points you do feel thorns dragging across your armor, but nothing that's cutting into you. You also see several types of weeds that are growing about here, but so do other types of plant life. You do notice that around here are pink flowers growing from ashen roots, and orange wild berries with black spots that grow in some of these bushes as you pass by or even walk through. This forest itself is like a thick tangle. The roots themselves are growing out of the ground. What dead life, it's almost like these things try to uproot themselves, or something did it for them, as several of the roots are now overgrown and have latched onto the ground and created this layer of just dead wood around your feet that sometimes catches on as you try to walk past, and you either just have to tear it from the ground or unhinge your foot to continue forward. Perception checks as you go. And also what face direction. This is honestly one of the few. You guys had like a small forest that was nearby the graveyard and the catacombs. This is a actual forest. You feel like this would take some time to travel through, instead of just several minutes to maybe an hour to do the entire thing.
Whatever
Three
direction
people.
SAAKA calls out.
Up to 3 people.
I rolled 1 since I was in the
SAAKA.
front.
I rolled 2.
This was a bit more, so you rolled as well. So who's the third that rolled?
Could I use the heightened senses for smell to see if like
Sure,
there's a
so if
smell
you want to
get
get
anything
anything
stronger?
rolls.
Yeah.
SAAKA, what you witnessed was a bit more east in this forest. So as you travel into it, you're at the southern point and you begin to travel diagonally through the woods, kind of brushing past as these gray, black, and white dead bushes are like dragging across your armor and cloak, or your shirt and cloak.
20 total.
20.
24.
It's almost something that you want to get out of your nose immediately. It is not here. Like, whatever it is not right next to you, but for you and your senses specifically, as you tap into just those senses themselves and your old training plus the magics that have been imbued into you with your just almost animal-like tracking senses, you do smell it. It is as if something has died and then like
Enough to
literal
track it.
powerful, it's like powerful chemicals has been poured on something that was dead and rotting for weeks. It is just, for you, strong. And so you, and it almost gives you a slight headache just by smelling it.
Is that not enough to attempt to track it?
It is potent. You should be able to track this thing for sure.
Attempt.
I mean, you can fail for sure. Well, dice are dice.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
not like
yeah,
you just
yeah.
win.
That's why I say attempt.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotta be more optimistic.
I said attempt. That's optimistic.
Okay, so are you taking lead at this point?
Sure.
Okay. So is Coil still on? Are you staying on his shoulders? All right.
Yeah,
So
I don't have any reason to get up.
DATH'TAN takes lead in front of KELSION, which means that Care is now being tailed by SAAKA, who's anchoring the back.
Which might be helpful.
Yeah.
Okay. As you begin traveling, go ahead and make another one for me.
Another perception?
As for one that was a bit more of picking up the scent, this is more of how well are you following.
23.
23. As you begin tailing this and continuing your path northeast, you are seeing what CAEDRIK was talking about. As you find within these forests, there are large bored holes into the ground, traveling into the earth themselves and curling in different directions with each one. Some having torn up bushes around the ground, while others have broken away and tilted trees. Some that have completely snapped and fallen over, getting in your path as you hop over them or crawl under. As you look place to place, it's tough, because as you begin to walk, you hit this small, not quite open area, but a bit less tree heavy, as they've like begun to snap and have fallen to their sides or have fallen onto other trees, kind of using them to be leaned upon. There are a few holes, what look to be 5 or 6, and the scent is coming from almost every single one.
It's coming from these holes.
Which one?
All of them.
What's the strongest?
bodies?
Go ahead and make a
Left?
perception.
13.
Another scent has been picked up. Sweat, blood. It's what you. It was very interesting in the beginning days of your full transformation into a blood hunter, as even the slightest smell of human skin could pick it up on your nose, and it was very overwhelming. You had to discipline yourself not to be just completely overwhelmed by every scent of your heightened senses. This is a familiar one. It's a dead body. There are several around that are now mixing in with the same rotting smell. And now with this picked up with the several different directions, it's hard to tell any point of where exactly they are. Some of them, you may discern that something is not there. It is just they've traveled through. But as for which one they are in, you can't tell.
I have no idea, but I am definitely picking up bodies.
Just keep going, please.
I'm going to get a map out. You don't mind pausing for a moment?
Foundation via message.
So
Okay, and we're back. So, as you guys are standing around, what is each and every one of you doing?
Well,
Drawing Autumn's fallacy.
Okay, so draw your dagger, begin to look around, draw your other dagger, looking. I'll say because it was said, this will be CAEDRIK.
no.
He gets his hammer and he gets back to back with you. Been itching.
I wish I could say the same, but I haven't.
Someone text him. He's here.
I'll double cleric.
Okay.
Just text
Anyone-
him rest
anyone
in
else
peace
is doing?
now, so he'll see it by the
Yeah.
time he's dead.
So since there's nothing too threatening, I'd like to ask DATH'TAN to point out which circles he's sort of like says be wary of.
As you say that, Daphne points around and you see the holes that are around nearby on the trees, which for you guys are the purple marker.
So the purple ones are the ones that.
They are the holes. The black are trees.
Okay.
And as I clarified before, the ones that are fallen down, this one is leaning on another tree, so this is just at an angle 4 or 5 feet up. These two are just down and count as half cover.
Is that black or purple?
That's black.
Is it right here? Because I know you drew
I can
purple.
use a different color if you want me to.
There's too much glare.
yeah,
Sure
it's
thing.
like I can't tell.
Purple, 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 purple.
Oh, that's
Purple.
better.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
So it's
reds
like
are
I can't
bit better.
differentiate.
No problem. This would be a dick move for me to do to Liam. No, Liam, what are they?
That's only 5. I think so. There's 6.
There's 5 or 6
There's-
is what was.
yeah.
And so
Oh, okay.
specifically there is 5. It was rough estimate versus now what is. No problem. I always do.
Until I do something stupid.
Yeah, of course. No. Alright. So, what are you doing? Death.
So I pointed out
These
the
holes.
holes.
That's the holes.
Who's closest? That one is.
Nick, you have some coins I can use real quick.
In my car.
Pops!
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I can go grab them if you want.
No, yeah, sure.
Whoops.
They don't have food.
Good moment.
All
What?
right.
Paul can't be on the table?
So, no. Table. Okay. So, Dathan, as we were there before, what are you doing? Are you drawing a weapon?
Yes, I am putting COIL on the ground, and then
Coil, you are placed on the ground.
yeah, drawing the broadsword.
You pull the blade. Again, looking around.
And then I'm
So,
going to
Just going to go through here. This is like pretty much one free round of movement. So, Anna, Pete, I had spoken to you first. Are you moving anywhere?
No, just preparing myself.
Okay.
Kind of taking a stance in case I do need to go anywhere.
yeah, I'm gonna move to here.
Okay. So
As the
you
whole explode.
Yeah.
peer into it. You see that the dirt and earth seems to just curl down before stretching on forward ahead of you as you run to a hole in between some trees off to your northeast. Run and look into the hole. Aneth, you stayed. Coil, as you're put down, are you doing anything?
Pulling out my mandolin. So I can.
Pulls out his instrument, strums once or twice, looks about. Kelsion.
I really do be spellcasting though.
To right about in the center of all of this. And yeah.
Yeah, I've got a very close eye on the two holes over here.
Okay, so you're looking to your south, east and west, at the two corner holes to you in between some of these trees.
I'm so upset I got a new spell this level and I can't even use it.
Why not?
Because it doesn't work against monsters.
Big oof.
SAAKA, what are you doing? Kara is going to stay near CAEDRIK and ANETH as he goes, excuse me. And he's like looking about himself and he's looking over to
Who's
Are we
there?
like back
Coil.
to back?
That's you up there.
Yeah.
shifts over to
Okay.
Coil.
I'll go up to oh my gosh, why am I blanking on your name? I love
DATH'TAN.
DATH'TAN! Oh
There
my
you
gosh, I'm so sorry.
30.
Oh.
That's as far as you can get.
Okay. If I whisper, can you hear me?
From 15 feet away? No,
Okay,
15 feet
I will-
is the whisper distance.
Okay, I won't whisper. I'll just say, careful around the holes. I wouldn't trust them.
I have a wider stance, like leaning over.
Yeah.
DATH'TAN, as you look over and nod, you look back and leap back just in time as a creature hops out of this hole and takes a bite at you. It snaps right at your face and you back off, putting your arm up to guard your head as you take a few steps back and it lands on the ground right in front of you. And if your passive perception is 12. Just enough to see this one crawling out of the hole.
How about you?
And a third, Kelsion. As you look at DATH'TAN, you look over and see a third one in between a few trees, just a little northwest of you, pop out of one of its holes. You finally get a good look at these things. You see...
Check it.
Oh, sure thing. Oh, gotcha. You want a marker.
Yeah.
You see a body of a large, mangy, malnourished dog, near 4.5 feet tall and 5 feet long. An almost hairless body with sickly, dark and raw pink skin. Darkened purple veins that can be seen throughout the body in certain areas stretching through it. You see small pus sacs of deep green that ooze slightly on the ground as it scruffier long tufts of hair that grow from the paws with a scraggly mane that spreads outwards around the head that stretches to the center of its back, like a crazed, thinner lion's mane and hyena hair. There's a thin strip of even more rough fur along the top that covers over the top of the thin, near rat-like tail. The head looks that of like a distorted dog. The wide, flat head of this creature holds a yellowish-green, cat-slit eyes. No ears, but instead 2 round impressions on the side of its skull. Its great and large, powerful jaw holding folding muscles in the sides of its mouth, and fangs, making it look almost like that of a snake. A long and wide, forked tongue slithering in and out of its mouth. It laughs near unnervingly with a hissing nature. I'd like you all to roll initiative.
Woo-hoo. No, I'm the only one. Thanks, guys.
If you want to, you can make a nature check, Mr. Bloodhunter. See if you've faced something like this before.
Wow.
Wow. Here's my nature.
Nice.
19.
19.
19 on nature check.
Yes. You have not faced these things before, but you've heard of things like this. This is known as a Keltisk. This was some sort of, at least from what you've heard, some cursed being in between that of an almost foreboding wild dog and that of a venomous snake, turning it into this creature that you see before you. Yeah. Has everyone rolled initiative?
Alright.
Okay. 25 to 20.
21.
24.
Okay. Fast. Aneth, 21?
Yes.
Okay. Roll some initiative for these guys. Okay, yeah. Let's get you guys first before I do them. 20 to 15?
19.
Wow.
18.
All right. Not a good sign for the Barbarian. Anyone rolling for CAEDRIK?
You're
Yeah, I guess so.
mobbing. I had a 0.
That's a 9.
Okay.
Oh, rest in peace, Satyr.
I mean, technically the cleric should be going last, but
I know, I don't like them going first.
going first and last. Shut up.
Yeah, KELSION, you're always going first.
Yeah, it sucks. Because I need to be last because I need to know who I need to heal at the end of the round.
Mm-hmm.
Then roll lower.
Tell my dice that!
React slower.
Reallocate your stats. Get away from Dex. You know what? I think your wisdom's too high, buddy. How about you put that? No.
I'm putting the rest of my points into wisdom.
So 9 for CAEDRIK.
Yeah.
SAAKA?
11.
Oh, okay. So that's higher. Gotcha.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So glad
Well,
to be
no,
back.
I was already all the way down to 9, and you pumped me back up to 11 because I was 9 with CAEDRIK.
Well, you didn't tell
Yeah,
us,
no
you didn't
problem.
say it.
So 15, 10, and then CAEDRIK's at 9. I think that's. Oh, is anyone gonna do care?
I don't want to kill Care.
You're too
Me
vulnerable.
neither.
Yeah.
Can we just?
You're gonna have to puppy guard him because he's amongst you.
Oh
He's
crap,
just
he
so
is.
fragile, the old
Does
man.
anyone want to have his touch sheet?
He has his own papers.
Oh, that's right.
And he's on a hunting trip. So we're just gonna.
We're gonna
fly
just.
with him. Just take him off.
Yeah. He's,
All right.
He's just.
I'll allow it.
All right.
Wait, are you sure?
Hey, he said he'll allow it.
I'll allow
Don't panic.
As tempting as it is to keep him here and let the hilarious story of how he died in the woods with you all. Okay. Top of the round, KELSION.
While the player was out in the woods.
Yeah.
Well, it sucks going first as a cleric because all I want to do is help, but
Hey, you got CAEDRIK in the back.
yeah. I'm gonna cast Sanctuary on myself.
Okay. You cover yourself in this pink and golden veil for just a second before it dissipates, and there's this shimmering glitter on yourself once again.
That is. And then I'm going to bless.
get these things out.
DATH'TAN, SAAKA,
DATH'TAN is blessed. SAAKA is blessed.
and COIL.
Yay!
And COIL, alright.
Baby is blessed.
You might need it.
The child is blessed.
COIL is blessed. Okay.
And I'm gonna stay put, so that is the end of my turn.
Looking about it, you're taking your slung over spear and bringing it over to the front. Your buckler out now. Looking about, you reach out your hand and say a small prayer. And Aneth, you see that pulsing from his fingers looks to just be almost like small string that stretches out and wraps around each one of them. This golden string that wraps around your acquaintances and allies before they dissipate, and each one of them begins to glow slightly. Is that your turn, Kelsian?
That is my turn because that was my action and bonus action.
You're just not
And I'm
using
not
your
gonna
movement.
move because I'm centered, which is right where I want to be.
Aneth, your turn. As you're holding 2 daggers, Satyr goes, "Best of luck to you," as he's looking around for his first target.
Okay. So I
Stuff for
keep my chair scooted back. I'm gonna go
So you
5,
forward them,
10,
so just-
15
Here, I can
to
just
kind of distance myself
have
a
my
little
phone.
bit.
Okay, moving away from Satyr a bit towards south.
And to get next to COIL.
Okay.
Just
Coil,
kinda
as you're like
as-
holding your mandolin a bit alone, Aneth runs up next to you, looks down to you as you look up to her.
And then I am just going to kind of keep eyes on this creature.
Mhm.
Maybe draw my short bow.
Okay. So, placing back your 2 daggers, quickly you draw your short bow, grab the small quiver on your side, and pull the first arrow.
Would I be able to fire this round?
How far is the reach?
Oh, I don't have the reach written down.
I believe that it is a bit over 25 feet. So yeah, for sure, I'm almost positive you are within range to make a shot.
Yeah, I think it's 40 to 60.
Mm-hmm.
22.
22. Yeah, even with partial cover from like the tree, you just aim over it, shoot over, and you hear
9 points of damage.
That was a cute noise.
9 points. Thank you.
That's lovely.
It's like, I'm very proud of it.
Yep. As you strike it, you hear just this stopping of laughter. It's almost like it's a slithering hyena laugh that turns into a low guttural growl as you hear the arrow into something.
Think
As
I
you
hit
like
it.
peer over the trunk that's the dead wood of the white and gray tree that's peeled back, the dead inner just black wood that's within it, peer over and you see that there's an arrow in its shoulder as it's just looking at you now. The 2 cat slit eyes just beginning to almost stalk as you see the shoulder roll towards you.
I aim my crossbow at it again, but I think that's my turn, so.
Yes. So short bow or is it a small crossbow?
Short bow.
Short bow, okay. So as you see, you like reach for your quiver again, trying to get another arrow as your hands are like shaking and you're just trying to grab one and put it into the nocket. Is that your turn?
Yes.
Coil.
Alright. Trying to figure something out. I'm gonna move over here. And I'm going to try to cast Calm Emotions. Each human. Wait, no, man. Never mind. That was
Yeah.
only works on
Yeah,
humanoids.
only humanoids. That's not going to work.
If that's the case, I'm going to cast blindness, deafness on this one.
Okay.
I'm going to choose to make it blind.
Con save.
Constitution saving throw.
That is a failure. That's a 3.
3.
Yeah. He rolled a 3. I'm not beating your 15 DC, I'm pretty sure.
16.
6. Oh, yeah, that's right. There you go.
And then I'm going to.
There's blinded. DATH'TAN, as you're looking at this one, its greenish yellow eyes cloud over, and it begins just to look about, its head like snapping around wildly, almost as if there's something in its head or on it that's trying to get off of it.
Next is it's me.
Well, is that Coil's turn?
Yeah, is that his turn?
I'm gonna use my bonus action.
There you go.
Because Homebrew rules, to cast Vicious Mockery on
Ooh.
this one.
Charisma save?
Wisdom.
Wisdom. That's 5. What'd you guys do to my dice?
It has finally kicked in.
Yeah.
The ritual has been completed.
Kao's using his divination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you say to it?
I'm gonna call out to it.
Hey, you! You smell really, really bad.
Okay, how much damage do you do?
1d4, and you add your
1d4 plus
spell-
your charisma.
Okay.
Charisma modifier.
Nine points of damage.
9. Nice.
And it has disadvantage on the next attack roll it makes for the end of its next turn.
Sure thing. Aneth, as you're like knocking the next arrow and looking, you see that this thing, its almost skull rattles on its head of this just wide, flat dog head as it just looks to you and shakes before its head turns and looks at the small Tabaxi that's just holding a mandolin, who yelled that it stinks.
I'm a little nervous now. Not gonna lie.
As it looks over and just sees like the small Tabaxi holding like runes in the air, pointing at it and yelling at it, its attention slowly turns to it. May not know what damaged it, but not knowing that it does not like being yelled at right now.
I have suffered a mysterious emotional damage.
Pretty much. DATH'TAN. This one is blinded in front of you, and therefore you have an advantage on it.
Wow. So, 2 hands, I swing at it.
Taking the broadsword, you swing down right at this thing. Natural 20.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Go ahead and roll some damage.
Crispy damage.
So that's a D12
It's a D12, yes.
double plus
Uh-huh.
the sword. So, extra damage.
Goodbye, that thing.
7, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19,
You sure we don't want to let the barbarian have that sword?
No, it's mine. I think
So what did you get on the dice?
7.
Double to
So
14.
double to 14.
And your strength is 5.
Plus
1.
Plus 6.
So
So
20.
then- yeah.
20 points of damage.
Yes.
Nice. That's a single hit.
Yes.
And that's from that one, so yeah. Immediately you hack right into the center of its body, and the laughing stops and turns into immediate small like whine and a as it still lives. You lift the blade, and the creature actually is beginning to get lifted with it, and you see it, and you put your boot on its head and push it off, and as it lands on the ground, it picks itself back up. It is hurt, but it is not quite dead.
Do I want to do it now or just kill this thing outright?
Should probably just kill it instead of showboat.
Yeah, I'll just take another swing at it.
Do you have a second
actually,
attack?
I don't, because I am one-handing this. So
Yep.
yes, I am gonna do what I'm gonna do. I'm going to speak the name of the sword.
What do you say?
I speak the magical word of the sword, which is
You have it.
Yes, I'm scrolling back up to it for like the 7 times now. I think it's pronounced Reksha.
Reshka.
Reshka.
This will be her. You see that as he sits there, he speaks into the blade, and what do you say?
I speak the name Reshka.
As he says that, you see that the carved wolf head on the pommel, the 2 eyes begin to glow, the brass diamonds beginning to surge with energy. you see almost like this starlight light that begins to spark from it as it sears forward with two lights, hitting and swirling, connecting together, and slowly beginning to form this brass ethereal wolf. As it does it, and from there's now this large, brass, shining colored direwolf made of starlight-like light as it sits there.
It's like a wolf.
It looks over to you.
It's a wolf, but
It's
bigger.
just, it's almost this ethereal, almost made of a space-like matter wolf that sits there. It looks over, its head spacing, its head turning to you, DATH'TAN, waiting for a command.
And I target the one that I just hit. So I am linking it to that one.
This thing that's about 4.5 feet tall, 5 feet wide, compared to your direwolf that's probably like 6-7 feet tall and about the same length. It just stomps over to it, and this blind thing that's twisting its head back and forth is freaking out to the sounds that it's hearing, but doesn't see its demise. Is that your turn?
Yes, because I cannot make it attack.
Yeah, not this turn. Okay, from there. This Keltis. 5, 10, 15. With disadvantage. Okay, so it rolled 14 and a 12. Turning the attack. Into 12 plus 19.
It hits.
Okay. There's delineation amongst the group right now. You take 8 points of piercing. And I'd like you to make a con save. As Aneth, you see this thing like slowly open its mouth, and these snake-like fangs dig into the shoulder and lift and begin to shake back and forth as this thing is just in a death throw with the small Tabaxi.
Does an 18 make it?
Yes. He spits back out the Tabaxi as it falls on the ground. He's like beginning to get back up. And he's going to make another bite attack. And Vicious Mockery is only the first one, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What's your armor class?
15.
Okay, that's a 17 to hit.
That hits.
That is... you know what? No. Second attack is going to, as he rushes past you, be towards Aneth, as he was also struck.
Would it have, like, killed me instantly?
No, that's not the case. He was been hit by two different things, and this thing's kind of wanting payback on both.
Okay.
Oh, I'm over there.
Oh, that's right.
I was gonna say, don't go against SAAKA. She
Yeah,
hasn't done anything.
bad choice. No. But runs up to you, and so same roll, 17 to hit.
That hits.
Okay. So you take, that's a 6 on a d6, that's 10 points of damage, piercing damage, and I need you to make a con save. As you run up, you knock the arrow and you begin to let loose, but as you do, it leaps up and knocks the arrow out of your hand along with the short bow up against your chest, and it blocks it from biting your throat, but it once again also comes down onto your shoulder and begins to like try to push you down to the ground. You keep it up, but you're pretty much holding this thing that's biting down on you.
18.
That also succeeds. So, as it like, you keep the short bow protecting your neck as it tries to bite down, and it ends up just scraping the side of your face and into your shoulder and into the clavicle. You just push it back from being a lethal and like in-depth bite, and you push it up and off of you as it.
This thing's dead.
You're like bleeding from the shoulder, and you look over and you see also your, you see like Coil, who's been like shaking around. His fur is kind of everywhere and in a mess right now as he's getting up a bit dazed. There. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40.
Damn, it's 40 feet. Okay.
You could have more.
That changes a lot.
Wisdom check.
Against a 16.
No, that's 14.
Yes. I'd say
It begins to step back as it tries to bite at you.
That's SAAKA.
Step. Step, step. Gets behind DATH'TAN. You can make an attack of opportunity, Kelsion, if you want to.
I will not, because that's going to get rid of my sanctuary, which I really want right now.
Okay.
How much movement does it have?
60? If I counted right?
Yeah.
It can dash as a bonus action.
Ooh.
Oh.
It took levels in Rogue.
The dash feature only gives an extra 20, though.
Oh, okay.
So,
That's still
60 feet.
60. Yeah.
This is the total attack.
Doesn't have anything else. Pack tactics for advantage.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay, that was a 5 and a 4. That's a miss. As it tries to bite at you, your wolf steps in front of you and it hits the brakes right in front of Reshka as it's baring its teeth right at this Keltisk. Okay, and now this Keltisk. Is it beginning or end of the turn? It can make a save against blindness, deafness.
I'm looking at that now.
Also, you do need to make a concentration check,
And-
actually, because you did take damage. So DC is 10, because the
Blindness
damage was
deafness
under
is
10.
not a concentration as far as I see.
Is it not?
It's not.
It's not.
It is. No,
No, it isn't.
it isn't.
Okay. I saw that
I
you
would've made that
checked
either
off concentration.
Yeah, that was
At the
my
end of
bad.
its turn.
Gotcha.
Thought it
So
was.
end of its turn.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So pack tactics evens it out. 2 attacks on death. So straight rolls. 17 plus 7. That's gonna hit.
Yep.
Natural 20. Even though straight roll because
Nope.
pack tactic. First bite. 1 plus 4. 5 points of piercing. And I need a con save.
You had to make a concentrate. You had to make a constant, right? Or not?
Yeah, you had to make a con save.
I did. Yeah.
Did you add the 1d4
Wait,
from
I
blast?
need to make.
You didn't need to.
Yeah.
I need to make.
Yes,
no.
con save. You've been bitten by this thing.
Add a
Oh
d4.
no.
I got an 18, so I would have made it even without.
I just couldn't remember because I was so worried about trying to organize a couple of things. I just didn't remember if you did.
To be fair, I forgot for a second too. Alright.
12.
12. That's a fail.
That's a fail.
Yes. You were close, but that's a fail.
Yep.
So you take 3d4 poison. I'll
Oh.
just roll it.
If it's poison, then 1 second.
Advantage against poison.
Yeah, I have advantage against
you do.
poison. So then 12.
That's a
13,
success.
14. Yeah.
Now for the natural 20. You might as well just go ahead and roll another con save. That's 14 points of piercing.
That's another 12.
Okay, so success. But that's another 14 points of piercing.
1 4.
Yes, 1-4.
No, 4-1.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
Maybe
As
something.
As you begin stepping towards this thing, getting ready to
A few
finish it
more
off, you get bitten into like the lower thigh, and you you feel this poison begin to pulse into you, but you just shrug it off. Your infernal nature pushing back against the poison. You just feel this heat and fire burning it away, and then as it reaches up higher, it's almost like clawing at your leg, and as you try to push back, it sinks it into your chest, and you pull back on the jaw as it's not poisoning you. Again, push up on the throat and just grab its Adam's apple, pull it off of you, and throw it back down on the ground. It can make a save for its blindness. Natural 19. It's no longer blind.
And now it sees the other wolf right next to
Yeah, its eyes opening, it begins to see that it is no longer in a good situation. Okay. Continuing on. SAAKA. It's your turn.
So I'm right there, right?
Yes.
So I guess I'll just attack the one in front of me.
Yes. Yep. Sure thing. If you want to move just one square over, you could be flanking for free advantage.
Well, wouldn't he be flanking at least with that one?
She would have to be there,
Here
for there.
Oh.
It's not like pack tactics. She has to actively
So,
be
yeah.
flanking.
Yeah, I'll move.
So
Yeah.
you did. You're fine. I moved you.
Yes.
Yeah.
You were at an angle where it wasn't quite there, but you shift over around the tree, step up behind DATH'TAN, and you see this just starlight wolf of grass color and this small creature that you'd seen once before.
This guy is from that way.
24.
24 hits. How is
Don't
this
worry
thing
about
going to die today?
Actually, sorry, I meant to say I was going to rage beforehand, but now I rage.
Sure, I'll that's fine. So you go into a rage and you see DATH'TAN stepping up. A look you haven't seen in a while is a raging SAAKA as she puts the greatsword overhead.
Okay, I just need it beforehand.
Yep. Thank you very much, Nick. That works. Okay, so by the way, I'm going to hit this base real quick.
20.
20 points of damage?
Yes.
To the one that's not been hit yet, though.
No.
You did my crit damage without doing a crit.
I'm sorry.
Don't apologize.
So, both DATH'TAN and SAAKA at this point, I'll explain it in a way that fixes it because I did forget the first time. As you bring your sword down, you nearly take this thing's head off, but as it moves forward in a way to like charge at Reshka, this new direwolf, you hit it right in the shoulder blade area and just curl it down up to the point that it almost like just an entire pork leg. It comes off of this creature as it just falls down, is now running on 3 legs. However, as you cut into it, and DATH'TAN, as you push off and like hit with the blunt end of the blade and kind of cut into with the blade just even a tiny bit, for both SAAKA and for DATH'TAN, the small sacks, you cut into them with your great hits, and it shoots out at both of you. So I need a dex save from both DATH'TAN and SAAKA because you hit it with slashing damage.
Can I see this? So I get
Yes.
damage?
Yes. Danger sense.
Thank you.
And Bless is
Still up.
Yes. KELSION was not hit and did not fail any save. So.
I forgot I was lost.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Plus a d4.
Oh.
Oh, that's not good.
That's
That's really not good.
You have advantage though.
No, yeah. That's a summon.
I'm even with advantage. I checked.
Plus the D4?
I get a 10. With advantage and being blessed. I have
So
a
fail.
10.
So you take full damage. So 2d4
We're really
acid.
not doing good.
So 4 points of acid damage. And as for you,
That would be a 21.
okay, so half damage. So 1 point of damage. As acid starts to burn into your armor and onto the part of you.
How dare you?
It's okay. I'm already good.
Okay.
It's fine.
Any bonus action, SAAKA?
I don't.
Yeah,
Oh, no, you used it to
I
rage.
raged, yeah.
Rage.
And so
Okay.
both of those are looking pretty bad.
It's just a war cry because they have poor acid.
Is that your turn, SAAKA?
Yes.
CAEDRIK's turn.
Okay.
CAEDRIK looks around, and within 6 seconds, this battle somewhat seems pretty much wrapped up, and he goes, "Come on!" So he begins.
20 to there.
You hear the of the fully plate armored CAEDRIK as he stops on a dime, surprisingly, and just has his hammer in the air. Hey! Gets behind this thing.
From
I
there.
kind of almost take a step back, but then I remember how short he is, and he's probably not going to reach me with his hammer standing across the way.
So, yeah, one attack with his hammer. I don't think. He
Yeah,
can
just
do,
a single
yeah,
attack.
I don't think he can do 2 attacks yet.
Nope. Clerics don't really get 2 attacks. They only get the single melee.
I got enough spells to make up for that.
Yeah, they do.
That is 15
Stats for his hammer.
plus 6, 21.
Yes, that for sure hits.
Alright.
That's against that one. So yeah, as he turns behind this thing, he smacks it right in the back leg, almost taking it out from the bottom.
Why can't I do 11.
11 points?
Yep. 7 plus 4.
Okay. So as he takes it out from the legs, Aneth, you stab this thing in the shoulder and attempt to bring it back up with Autumn's Fallacy, the hooked dagger beginning to drag it into the air. As it does, CAEDRIK comes forward and smashes its head, and the skull splits down the middle, and it just dies right on your blade. As you pull it from, he spins the hammer. Nice. Begins looking around.
Oh, that's not character. That's mine. Then from there, bonus action, Sacred Flame.
Okay. Sacred Flame, which one? Because this one's gone.
Oh, that's gone?
Yeah.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Okay.
It's
60
companion.
feet.
Flathead is even flatter now.
Yep.
Let's go with this one.
Caved in. Natural 15 plus 4.
Then that's going to be this DC.
Yeah, that's 19.
Yeah.
Beats out his DC.
Yep, so no damage.
I forgot for that one, it's actually 22 points of damage. Because I forgot
Gotcha.
to add half my
Level. Gotcha. Radiant damage.
Yeah.
Zealots.
Sorry.
Welcome to Zealot Barbarians.
It's been a hot second since we did combat, so I'm like, wait a minute. There's more.
That
One
was
day
my
after.
5 action,
don't
bonus
worry,
action.
This because
Yeah.
Action, bonus action,
Satyr,
part of your movement.
Good.
Was that 25 feet?
That was 25 feet because 20 feet got me right to
Gotcha.
here, 5 feet got me
Alright, sure
behind.
thing. Just making sure.
I think that's the end of his turn.
Okay. End of CAEDRIK's turn?
Yeah.
Okay. Kelsion.
Okay. I'm going. Casting Cure Wounds on COIL. For 7 HP back, COIL.
Sweet. Thank you.
That's actually. I can work in half turns. And I'm going to cast. I'm going to cast Command on
That one?
this one.
Sure thing. This large cut in between its like nape of the neck all the way down to the lower back. Natural 20.
Okay.
As you begin to move forward, you begin to try to tell it to do something, and maybe it doesn't hear you, maybe it doesn't care, or maybe it did shrug off your magic, but for some reason you're just not getting through to it.
I'll go.
Okay. Aneth. Looking at this dead thing, short bow and dagger in hand at this point, you look.
Are these the only two on the field right now?
Looking over your shoulder, you are only seeing those two.
Okay.
And yeah, you are smelling what DATH'TAN was describing earlier, just this heavy, thick rot.
Okay, then I'm going to break into a dash. 5, 10, 15. Use my bonus action to headbutt him.
So, sailing through the air is this satyr just flying at this thing.
24.
Yes, absolutely that
Careful, it
is.
sprays acid.
Only for
It's
slashing.
bludgeoning.
Ah.
My face is bludgeoning damage.
Really? Okay.
You should get blades for your horns.
There you go.
9 points of
Stitch
damage.
those on.
I mean, we as
And
well.
then
Technically,
I don't
she's
headbutt
standing.
things.
9 points. No. How does this creature meet its fate?
I'm gonna sprint up and I'm aiming to pull a CAEDRIK and just implode its head.
Okay.
Probably from the side.
So seeing it, you're kind of like, watch this, and begin to take off running at it. Saber's like, what? And as you hit about almost 5 feet out, you sail through the air, almost, a good 5-6 feet at it. And this creature that's staring at the backside of KELSION, like part of its leg is just hanging off. It looks over, just one eye squinting as the sun pretty much gets blotted out by this satyr that wham! And you see that the satyr head pretty much digs this creature's head into the ground as it, and both the head and her head slam into the ground. Blood spurts up, and the satyr comes back with a smile, her hair and face covered in blood and gore.
I like to
There's a
dislodge
spray
my
over
head
SAAKA and on the back
wipe
of
away the
DATH'TAN.
blood from my eyes. The rest of my face is coated.
Yeah, it is gory, messy, and it smells terrible. You're like, oh. But
And
yeah,
then-
DATH'TAN, you get a spray up your back, and SAAKA gets a small spray up her front leg.
Sokka's actually gives like a small smirk of like, it's not so bad.
I'm more
my
focused on the one in front of me.
Action.
How have you not cracked a horn yet?
Got a big head. Big skull.
The day that you kill someone with a sneak attack horn attack is going to be hilarious.
That's gonna be the best.
Coming out of nowhere, you just football tackle a man to death.
And that's the name of my new band. Sneak Attack, Horn Attack.
Oh, I don't have a direct line of sight on that guy. Okay, that's my action.
Over his shoulder.
Yeah, I'm not
my
gonna shoot an
legs.
arrow right over his shoulder though.
Hold still.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. I'm not that good. I ain't no range.
Aneth shoots DATH'TAN in the shoulder.
Why?
Is that your turn, Aneth?
Too late.
Coil.
Shoots me in shoulder.
My turn, watch out.
Is that your turn?
Yes.
Okay, Coil. As you're picking yourself back up, bleeding from your shoulder and almost near your collarbone, but just over on your right shoulder, you look over and you see there's only one creature that's like trying to escape, with DATH'TAN's just spinning his new sword with a smile as he walks towards this thing.
Gonna use my action to cast Blindness Deafness on it.
Again?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Make it blind again.
And that is a con?
Yep.
Okay.
It's so that he can't see death coming.
Yeah. 14 plus
Because he fell
3,
pretty soon.
17.
That makes it.
Okay.
Dang.
So as you begin to cast, this one's hardier and for some reason trying to hang on. So as you cast it in an attempt to make it go blind once again, it seemingly still has its wits about it.
I'm going to use my bonus action to use my Mantle of Inspiration feature.
Okay.
Everyone gets 5 temporary
Yep.
hit points, and they can immediately move up to their speed without proccing reaction attacks.
Are you saying anything?
No, I'm just gonna activate baby mode.
Okay. So
It's just described as granting yourself a wonder.
sure, it's just for the sake of flavor.
Now I'm just gonna activate baby mode. It's fine.
Kelsion, as you're like kind of walking, just kind of like yeah, get this over with. You see a small like glimmer of light, and you look over, and you see just for a few moments that Coil lifts into the air, and that his fur goes into this platinum silver. As he floats in the air just a few inches off, he glows, and there's a pulse, and most of you where you're standing just feel a bit hardier and a bit more energized, and can even see some of your injuries kind of mold over a tiny bit. So everyone gains
5 temporary hit.
Yeah, 5 temporary hit points.
And they can also immediately move up to their movement speed without attacks of opportunity.
Nice.
As from your perspective, Coil, as you sit there and you're like trying to help your friend, you're like thinking, you see the small, the hand of silverish white come over your shoulder and go, "Need some help?" As he offers you his hand from behind.
I take it.
As you take it, you're lifted into the air and you see the same color flash into, and as you look at all your friends, you almost see like copies of the envoy touch each one of their shoulders, looks back, and he smiles at you before he touches DATH'TAN, SAAKA, ANETH. And then he smiles, waves, and disappears into a silverish dust.
Sick.
I'm not sure what I think about your friend.
He's the cooler dad.
He's the cooler dad.
He's the cool dad.
Okay. So, DATH'TAN.
Yeah.
There is one left and it's like trying to crawl its way back into the hole.
I'm gonna have Reshka finish it off.
From I may understand this wrong, but don't we sort of get a free movement round?
No, you just don't get attack of opportunities.
Okay.
Oh, you can move it. You can.
Yeah.
You could
Without
move you want.
without
Okay.
provoking.
That was something I wasn't understanding correctly.
When a creature gains its temporary hit points, it can immediately move its reaction to move up to its speed without provoking opportunity attacks.
Are you wanting to do that? It's your
Yes.
reaction.
Yes, because I have not used my reaction yet.
Sure. What are you going to move then? You'd have to hop in the hole to.
I'm not hopping in the hole. I'm
Okay.
standing right next to it.
All right. It's not technically flanking.
But I'm hoping he gets the idea.
Mhm. So you're gonna move Reshka up.
Yeah, I'm moving
Reshka is flanking.
Reshka up and having Reshka finish it off. It uses the same stats as this one.
So cool.
I know, right?
So
Which
as this
damage
thing
side,
turns-
the D10 or the 12? Or is it whichever I'm...
It's whichever you were doing at the moment.
So then I'm
you
still-
said that you're
I'm still
two-handing, so it's
I'm
D12
two-handing.
on a hit.
I am baby, but now I have power.
Natural
2 and a 3.
Oh no!
Oh,
What is it?
So with that, it would be... So it would
I'm
take
too blessed.
3. That's not attacks.
Oh.
Wait. Yeah, no.
No.
That's not attacks.
That'd be guidance.
Yeah.
Also, Reshka is kind of its own being, so
Yeah.
Reshka herself would have to be blessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's... I'm pretty sure that's a miss, but that'd be...
You can add it
plus
up.
8, so 3, 8, 11.
Okay.
Yeah, 11.
No.
No? Okay.
AC's pretty low, not that low.
Making it easy. Not that
So
easy.
Reshka
So
snaps.
she takes my bonus action, so then that would be now my main action too.
As you see that it bites, this thing just like falls down, and Reshka bites, and you see that there's almost like this moment of realization of it's not in my mouth. And the dog just kind of, the wolf steps a foot or so back as you step forward and bring
20.
the sword down. Yes. Is this two-handed or one-handed?
It's still 2-handed.
No bother rolling damage. Well, actually, yeah, it may have enough health to hold on.
I rolled a 12.
Okay, yep, nope. How does it meet its fate?
So, very quickly, as soon as I see Reshka miss and it backs up, I take it down and I just go for the head.
So as Reshka steps back, this creature leaps forward at it, in fact, seeing this moment of weakness within its attacker. And you seeing this, just take the opportunity, and while it's in the middle of the air, you see that slash, and you're like, let's see if I can't copy that. And bisect it with one strong slash. The thing just falls in two as it flies in the air. A whole spray of blood in this swirling motion covers most people that are around. KELSION, the image of Reshka gets covered, but it doesn't seem to care, and you yourself get just a whole spray of gore as the third falls. For a split second, you see one pop up, turn around, and hop immediately back in that hole. As this fourth one crawls up, sees that its friends are dead, and just like slithers back down into the hole.
Would I be able to quickly change the mark to that one?
As you look over, you kind of already used Reshka as a
Yeah.
thing, so.
So no, I can't.
And that's the end of combat. So, as combat has ended, you are all sitting around the thistlewood, breathing heavily, some of you having wounds that as your adrenaline begins to slow, you begin to feel not just the sore, but the piercing pain still in your shoulders and chest and leg. As you're looking about, you saw that one poked its head out and slithered back down. this hole, and for just a few steps, Kelsion, you heard for nothing. But most of you, CAEDRIK walks up. Everyone good?
Not bad.
Yeah.
That's easy.
He walks over to ANETH, cast first level Cure Wounds. I'll roll for him.
Cool.
11 points of healing. As he lays his hand on your shoulder. Looks like you got a bit roughed up there.
I'm not worried about these guys. I'm worried about the beasts and their creator.
Oh, and he turns and we'll do the same for COIL. That's 7 points of healing.
Alright, back up the
Okay, so that's 2 first levels.
Yes,
for...
2 first levels.
Okay.
I'm recognizing that you're probably not wanting to burn through your spells, so.
Well, I'm also making sure I don't burn through his.
Sure.
Because I don't want him to just go out of spells.
No, I'm not trying to machine gun through him, but for sure, I'm pretty sure CAEDRIK would heal COIL.
Yeah.
Anna.
He doesn't heal much.
Imagine not healing the baby.
No. He almost killed the baby.
The baby's fine.
Which he then healed.
No, I healed.
Yeah. That's right, yeah. You did
Yeah,
some.
I healed. You
8
took my
more points of
only health
damage. You would
potion.
have killed him instantly.
You nursed Droid.
Health potion walked in the room.
Yeah. Okay. So, Menagerie. You're all sitting there. Breath beginning to level out. What are you all doing?
Follow the one that came up and then immediately fled.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to find the creator. Anything.
Might
Most
lead us
likely
to the
below us.
creator.
He might be down there.
Well, then let's not waste any time.
Alrighty.
Marching order.
I'm gonna be middle front again.
Reshka, I believe, does not last super long.
I'll be in the middle.
And Blast will most definitely fade away.
Where do you want to be?
I'll be at the front with you.
In front of me or behind me?
I'll be right behind you because you saw where it was and I did not.
DATH'TAN, I think the spot left is there. Alright, I think. Can everyone else confirm? Are they okay with this marching order?
Kelsion, SAAKA, ANETH, COIL, DATH'TAN, CAEDRIK. And Kara's disappeared.
He is.
I will say Kara's with you, but as we have done things before, just so
He is hiding in the back.
Yes.
Behind a rock again.
He fled.
Yeah, he's laying prone.
He ran and laid down.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So, as you step into it, this one is not like a slant. It is pretty much just a pit that's about 5 feet deep. Before the path just straight ahead. So you're the first in Kelsion?
Yeah.
As you, his head is just sticking out of it as he looks up to you, SAAKA. And then as you look ahead, it is a bit short. It's maybe like 4 feet, this dirt tunnel. You begin.
Before I do that, I want to stick my hand up and say, somebody hand me like a branch or a stick.
Hands a bit. Here you go.
She picks up this twig, maybe 2 feet long, and hands it to you.
I'm going to cast light on it and then sort of use it and just hold it in front of me while going through.
As he whispers on, it's almost like you're seeing runes get carved into this small twig, SAAKA, as it lights up. And he holds it in front of him, begins to step forward into the dark tunnel. And you're second in, as you don't have to crouch as much, but your greatsword's making it a bit tough, so you take it off your back and put it under your arm. Begin to crawl past. ANETH, you're not extremely tall. You are, however, a bit roughly around the same height of CAEDRIK of 4.5 feet. So you get down and you can almost walk. Your horns are dragging a little bit across the top of the dirt tunnel, but you're pretty much just waiting behind SAAKA at this point. COIL doesn't have to even try. He's under 4 foot, so he.
I am 3'1".
You're like,
Dathan, you like lower him in so he doesn't jump down 5 feet into the pit.
Yeah, shatters his leg.
Yeah. And then he just slowly, like, almost waddles his way in, back and forth.
I used it to back, so he's probably
gonna
fine.
sink into the ground.
They always land upright.
Yeah.
Sure.
Dathan begins to crawl and sneak in without a word. It's probably the roughest for the 2 tieflings, as they're the tallest. They're like the most cramped down as they go. SAAKA is a bit wide, but is still short enough where she's able to tuck in.
she's got a nice girlish finger. People are wide.
You're like 190 pounds of swole. I think even more than that, but. And then CAEDRIK hit as he lands on the ground. Yeah, he. You do hear.
I will head back to town and inform them.
Okay, have fun.
Don't get
Okay.
hurt.
No, I'm like, that's a voice I recognize. And I remember that's for care.
That's care. Yeah.
I was like,
Kelsion turns and fires a guiding bolt. No.
I don't have guiding bolt.
Disguise self. Out of fear.
Cast a spell.
Yeah. Yeah, he jumps, casts a spell on himself. Okay. So,
Okay, casks.
what is your speed here? Are you just like going at this slow, steady pace? Are you just kind of like moving along the light ahead, or are you just trying to quickly get through this?
In terms of fast, normal, and slow, I'd say probably normal.
Okay.
Because we're not needing of stealth right now. Plus, I've got a giant glow stick.
Yeah.
And
I would say disadvantage on stealth checks if that's what you guys are looking for.
And then I don't think we're looking too much for perception checks in terms of mechanics.
Yeah,
because
it's
this
not
is
like
a
we can
tunnel.
all see around each
it
other.
smells
Yeah.
Yeah.
Horrible in here.
Yes, this, as you are in it, this is probably the strongest scent of this creature that you smell.
If anything,
the-
it might be
the smell of
disadvantage
bodies
of
is
how
kind
bad
of-
the scent is.
Scented away, although you do still smell flesh.
So, yeah.
I will say that, go ahead and make a perception check.
Using a heightened senses or
I believe that that's what this is the entire point of, so.
natural 20, bringing
Okay.
it to a total of
Great.
Numbers.
24.
Okay. It's hard to tell sometimes. However, this smell, it's warm. The blood is, at least, that you begin to scent. This is something that is beating. This is something that is made of flesh, skin, and blood. Whatever you had discovered earlier with the gnolls, this is familiar. And it's ahead of you.
Remember back with the gnolls? The smell, it's the same.
I'd rather not remember the gnomes.
What do you mean, remember the gnomes? There's a lot of things that happened with the gnomes.
With the thing that they were creating, sewing together with the flesh,
I told
it's
you.
the same smell.
I told you that's what I saw. They're stitching it together, and we were almost done when I left to find you guys. I can only imagine.
So what? Pick up the pace?
A little bit.
I guess
Perhaps
we
we
need to.
passed it. Perhaps it's already on its way wherever it's going.
No, it's still straight ahead.
Let's go.
Get ready, guys.
You guys picking up the pace?
Yes.
So, Kelsion, leading the way, you begin to pick up the pace as the others are like patting you on the back and kind of pushing you forward. You begin to move at a quickened pace. It's not like you guys are sprinting. This is still short enough where like some of you guys are moving at a bit of a slower movement speed. But as fast as you can, you begin to get through this tunnel. The tunnel then begins to dip. Not for a very long time, but for what is a few dozen feet, you feel, before straightening back out again. As you begin to move, begin looking around, what seems to be the dirt tunnel is beginning to harden and dampen slightly. You guys feel that falls onto your shoulders and even on your head. It's water. As you begin to walk, you go on for a few more minutes before you see a small, a different shading of darkness as the light is still casting it. You see that there is this part of the dirt tunnel that goes up, and where it is up, there is now this worked square stone that seems to be the bottom of some sort of tunnel or sewer, and it has been caved inwards as stone and pieces of rock have been broken and fallen onto the path of where this hole is and where you guys come upon. You look up to see just small bits of sewage water just slowly falling in, not like super gushing, not trailing, it's just this small trickle, as if it's just been slowed or even dammed nearby. It's this broken section hole of a lower part of a sewage drain. You see the worked, almost stained brown stone that has just fallen inwards. You're still not quite, but it's probably 6 feet up from where you are. So it's going to be a little bit of a climb. But as you come out of like this small 4-foot tunnel, it's just like straight up. So if you have the strength, you could just put feet on the wall, back against the other wall, and just start dragging yourself up. Or you could just attempt to climb straight up.
6 feet just straight up, correct?
It's not from where you are, it's like from where you see it. It's a 6 extra feet, so 10 feet total. So the 4 feet you're like crouching at, and when you stand, there's still 4 feet between you and the end.
How much room is there?
You could.
How much
for some of the shorter people?
How big is this hole? Like, how many people could stand in it comfortably?
2.
2?
As you're getting in, SAAKA's getting in, and you're full.
Okay, so
at this point, ANETH, as you're walking, you see that as you're following SAAKA and KELSION, they hit this small area where you see the light is beginning to trail upwards, and you peek, and you see the worked sandstone, the square pieces that have just been broken and fallen downwards that now KELSION and SAAKA stand around. They both stand to their full height, and they're like looking up, and you could maybe squeeze in between the two of them, but where they stand, it's like full up in this center hole that reaches upwards.
I give it a quick glance, and then I look to Sasha, and I say, throw me.
What does she weigh?
Probably like 100 pounds.
You're about 110, 115 with your gear, so you're pretty light, but all geared up, like you're over 100. But SAAKA, yeah,
I'll
get you up there.
I'll push Kelsian out of the way.
You could. ANETH is a smaller individual, and once you think about it, like, yeah, maybe she can fit with us, and it is still pretty tough. Like, you are up against the wall as SAAKA is like bending down to grab ANETH and picking her up, and she's like 1, 2.
Hang on.
You could
make a
punch me
strength
like
check.
5 miles.
Do I need to make any checks?
I would say make. I'll let you decide of acrobatics or athletics. Athletics is going to be a bit more of a grab on and pull up.
Yeah.
Acrobatics is going to be a bounce your way up.
18.
What are you trying for?
Acrobatics.
Okay.
Do you have
That's
advantage?
a nat 1 plus 5, that's a 6.
Okay.
I told you, hang on.
You throw me
So?
again.
I got
So-
18.
Okay. So as you throw, there's like this small 1 brick of stone that is like standing out in between this hole, and she knocks it loose, falls with it, and as ANETH hits the ground, the stone falls right on her, knocking the wind out of her.
And it kind of rolls to the side. It's like, do it again. I wasn't ready last time, but I will be this time.
5 points of bludgeoning damage from the fall on the stone total. As you
There goes all my temporary.
I
So-
warned you to hang on.
So the wall
Man.
of this, is it dirt or is it...
So the walls of this are dirt, but
Is
it's
it
like
like-
someone tunneled
I
up
wish you had those
and then
5
got the
temporary hit
flat
points.
surfaces
Yeah, that's what I
underneath the
said.
sewage and just knocked it down.
Is it packed dirt? Though?
Yeah,
Or is it
20
pretty...
It's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
packed. You feel that it's somewhat sturdy,
dang,
but
that's
someone did
cool.
dig this out, and so you feel like you're in the boat. Like this could probably support some weight, probably not a ton.
Okay. Could
Like as
I...
you try at it, like it falls off pretty easy, but as you try to dig your fingers into it, it's pretty hard and firm, just a few inches in.
Could I put my back up to the wall, embrace, and then cut my hands to try to boost someone up?
You could, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Remember, there's like that 4-foot hole
Yeah.
at the very bottom, so you'd actually have to like shimmy your way up there to even get to a position.
Yeah.
Or you could just use the back wall.
That's what I was gonna think was the back wall.
But you're throwing again?
Yeah.
As you're
Oh, wait
thinking,
until
as you're
after.
looking and thinking this, you hear,
For the
"Huh," and you
future.
turn like again. As this,
Hang on.
I've got it this time.
You sure?
I'm positive.
Okay. Those are again.
what was the strength check?
22.
Even more.
This
damage
square
time.
block that like you kind of kick to the
Stop,
side socket as you
don't
grab
use
her.
that one anymore.
What is it?
Another 6. Oh my god.
Another natural one.
Bruh.
This
Did I
time,
catch her this time? Because I was prepared for
this
her to
time,
actually
SAAKA goes,
fall.
hold on, and just throws you, not upward, just completely forgetting to go up with the motion. SAAKA throws, Kelsion steps to the side as ANETH, wham, up against the dirt wall, is just thrown against it. And Kelsion, you're going, maybe if I brace myself, as you step to the side and it slam up against. You take another point of bludgeoning damage.
No more throwing.
Are you sure? That was
You tried
pretty
twice?
bad.
I'm positive. I'm positive. Okay.
I
this
just like
time,
crouched.
Just hoist me up. I'll reach the ledge. Let me
I'm
give
just
you
gonna
a little
brace
pulse.
against
Satric's like, oh my god, what have you done?
Aneth is like bleeding from her nose, and she's like, one more time, I can do
Nope.
it this time.
Nope. I'm gonna veto that for your own safety.
You
I
throw
crouch
that.
down lower to coil.
I
I'm just
can't.
gonna
I'm not
lift
that
you up
strong.
there.
Okay, alright, how about we
Will
do
go
this?
better than.
I'm
Instead
pretty
of
sure you
throwing you, climb up me, and then I'll just pull yourself up.
Let's just boost
Okay.
someone up.
Are you going to hoist me up?
I will.
Okay. Let's try this
I'm
again.
not gonna do it very hard
Just-
because evidently you're not getting whatever it is that we're doing.
Just boost
Okay,
me
so
up. I don't
just
trust
use-
her with doing
so-
you again.
just go ahead and make a strength check.
I'm not throwing her.
I know. Go ahead and just make an athletics check.
Athletics?
Yes. This is just going to kind of be, the thing is between your two, you're going to be pretty much equal to the height, but
Can
it's
it
just
be
still going to be
acrobatics?
pulled.
Wait a minute.
This is much more pulling yourself up, and she's just holding you. So acrobatics, it's hard to acrobatics this. If she was tossing you, it was kind of the idea you're going to Prince of Persia side to side the walls until you're up. While this is that you're just at the ledge, you just got to pull yourself up with your own body strength.
I have a climbing speed. Can I
You do.
just climb up?
Right now it is pretty full in there.
Yeah.
It was 2 people kind of, but now with ANETH, who's a short person who could just barely fit in there, it's pretty crowded in here.
That'd be hilarious. Like we're trying to get her up like 3 times. You just come in and like, excuse me.
I'm tiny.
7.
What was your strength?
16.
16. As you like are trying to hold on, your hands begin to slip as you go up. You're like in this small little ravine. As there's like this ravine, sides, and then the actual walkways to this sewer. And as you like hands hit sewer water, like you and as you begin to slide, you feel as you're pushed up. As SAAKA goes nope, and just pushes on your hooves and chucks you up to the top. And you are kind of face, stomach, and chest first in sewage, like this small drain of sewage water.
Oh, it's a good thing I was already dirty.
That grosses
Okay,
you.
I'm up.
The blood doesn't
Okay.
gross you.
No, because it's blood I can wash off.
No more throwing. Let's just boost people up.
At this point now, because ANETH up, COIL, you can fit in here.
Sweet.
At this point, SAAKA, as you like push up ANETH, you look and you see COIL just marches right in.
Hi.
Hi. What you doing?
You guys need to stop throwing each other.
She asked for it. That was my fault.
And it kind of pokes her head over the ledge, just waiting for Coil to be thrown.
You could punt me like
I
5
know.
miles.
I could just lift you up with one hand and hold you up, and then Aneth could grab you.
Probably, actually.
So how are you guys going to do?
I'm gonna brace myself against the back wall with a hand down as a step to try
Okay.
to pull people up. Or
Are you like looking to SAAKA, looking to COIL?
I'll hold my hand out.
Cat's
to
got his own
hold.
climbing speed. He can do
Yeah,
this.
I
I'm
can do it by
confident in that. SAAKA does not have as easy of a climbing speed, so I'm gonna at least start with her because then she can hoist people up afterwards.
She doesn't have a climbing speed.
So yeah.
You sure you got me?
Sure you don't want to throw anyone else?
I really would love to.
We got the
Especially
dwarf back there.
Saedric. Saedric!
Nope. Nope.
No,
No,
I'm good back
no.
here.
No, come on, let me throw ya.
Nope.
This is how Saedric dies.
Yeah, non-combat getting
Yeah.
repeatedly thrown up and falling.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know, if Aneth survived it, I think Saedric will be fine.
No,
He got crushed by a boulder.
That's true.
Yeah, that wasn't the prettiest time.
Do you want to go first?
Flat stand
You
up
first.
for
You
a
can
little bit.
you can help pull him up at the top.
Okay.
So strength check, Kelsion, and strength. I'll say athletics for both of you.
Education, proficient in athletics. 19.
22.
She is heavy. It is like you're just like she's not that big.
She's got no armor.
As she is
wear armor.
just a massive, bulky person. As like she reaches up, she's maybe just like a few inches short. She punches a hole in the wall in the dirt and just pulls herself up. And Aneth, you grab onto her shoulder as she's just one-handed pulling herself
I was
up.
gonna say I probably don't help
Okay.
very much, but I'm there for moral support. I'm like, yeah, you can do it.
As your hand slaps into just this small dip of sewage water itself, as you don't even care, not flinching, just pull yourself up, sit, put yourself back up on your feet, and you're just looking down now.
I don't see how you had so much problems here.
Well, some of us weren't braced with rippling muscles.
I can see that.
Some of us don't work for rippling muscles. Some of us are also 4 feet tall.
Some of us are also 3 feet tall.
Yeah, but have a climbing.
You hear that and you turn
That's
and
a
you
fine
see the
excuse.
small coil standing right amongst you, the two of you, looking at you two arguing amongst each
I
other.
kind of glance down at Kelsion, like, did you help him up?
Guessing and
let
you watch
that
while
one
silently,
stay
he just
mystery,
walked up,
Yeah.
pulled out his claws, and then as you're like offering him, you just see him climb up right next to you with this.
While you're distracted by him, I go to the other side and go, Kel, go.
Nope.
I got you. Nope, nope.
Nope.
Get going up.
I'm
On
already
the,
here.
on the
help the
other
dwarf.
side of it.
Yes, I'm on
you,
the other side.
You can't have left or right wall, I guess, to help. But if you are doing it like where the tunnel is, you just have 4 feet of empty space at your legs, so you have nothing to brace against, unlike Kelsion.
Who's
You
next?
two could, like, do the
She's-
back-to-back
if I,
thing.
like-
As you're like standing
Sokka's
there
up, I
and
think
Kelsion's
everything's
standing
good.
there and you two are like arguing,
Yeah, or,
Saedric
like,
crawls
hold
under
on.
your legs and he goes,
That's
"Get
it.
me up there."
Same time.
That's what I was doing this for. And he
Yep.
reaches for both of your hands. As he steps on both of your hands. Both of you make a athletics check, as this is a heave. Is someone gonna catch him?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
19.
getting
Make it-
away from the ledge.
I'll say you'll have the strength to do it. Make a dex check to see if you catch his hand.
This is what athletics, strength.
Athletics. Yeah. You should beat me in this easy.
Oh yeah, 16.
The biggest
plus
challenge the
7,
menagerie
16,
faces today
Is
is
a hole.
ledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A 10-foot ledge.
Natural 20.
Okay.
Plus
For the
1.
dex, yeah.
Yeah.
And between two of you?
19.
Nice.
16, 20, 23?
I'm doing good for only a
16 plus
+2.
5?
16
Oh.
plus 7.
16 plus 7, that's 22.
22.
Pretty sure.
Done.
20.
23, yeah.
23.
I was right.
So, you chuck him as he's in the air. He gets like, you see his torso and arms lift before the momentum stops and he begins to fall, but you hook
I
your
know,
arms
it was
under
like-
it, both of his arms, and you have. under his armpits, and you kind of have him like a
Like,
baby, and you
There,
lift him
there,
into the air.
I say there,
Iron cross.
CAEDRIK.
You move him, and you.
There.
How wide is this gap here?
The
Like,
gap-
I can't do my full wingspan, right? I can just go, like,
No,
press up.
this is probably like. It's probably like 3.5 feet.
Oh, then yeah, I just press myself up.
You could do
With
it,
my-
but you're not like at full.
Yeah,
wingspan.
I'm like
it's
about
just
here,
like
right?
elbows.
Yeah. So then I
Little bit
go
more
and, like,
elbows.
slowly climb up like that.
Make
I'll
an
help you
athletics
up.
check.
Nope, I'm too stubborn.
Once he gets high enough, I'm pushing his feet up.
Get the heck out of here. Get the heck out of here. That would be a 19.
It's slow and it's a bit painful considering your wounds are still fresh and unhealed, and you're feeling like muscles tearing your chest a little bit from the bite mark. But you, piece by piece, you see DATH'TAN ascend by like jumping and placing his feet into both sides of the wall.
It's anchor points, raise,
Mhm.
anchor points.
Yeah,
raise.
you're
Probably
pretty much
got
just
like
doing
septic
wingspan
shock
all
at
the
this
way
point
up.
too, because
Yes.
of the
As
climbing to a
you
sewer
climb,
tunnel.
he
And I pull him.
as you grab onto the ledge, like you're a bit fearful that the muscle tearing plus the workout may not have enough juice in the tank to pull, and you feel a hand clap onto you, and as you try to pull up, you feel SAAKA with both arms pulling up on your arm, which hurts a little bit, but you get up.
I just love
Then Kelsey
lie
on
their
your
feet
standing
dangling
alone.
down.
Yeah. So
Good.
You see that
That's
DATH'TAN's foot is just dangling in the hole at this point as he's laying back in sewer water.
okay, so I want to take my hand axe, put a foothold at knee level
Okay,
and at like
I see. What you're
lower-
doing. Yeah.
lower chest to like hip level, somewhere in there.
Mhm.
Move as far back in this tiny hole as I can, and try to use those two as footholds to launch upwards.
Okay. This isn't acrobatics.
Yes. I was making sure I
I
could
know
make this
what you're
as
doing,
dexy
yeah.
as possible because I do not do good with strength.
You are technically doing it now.
Yes, I am.
To grab onto what, my foot or the ledge?
No, if I grab onto your foot, that boot's slipping off and I'm falling back down. I'm grabbing onto the ledge. Okay, so that is a 18 plus 5, 23.
Sure thing.
That math adds up, right? Yeah.
Okay.
23.
So as you step up onto these 2 points and you launch, you make it, but DATH'TAN is there. And so you're like, well, no ledge. Hi. And DATH'TAN, there is a sharp pain as there is a finger in your bite wound from your thigh. As you and as you like pull back, as you feel something dragging you down, you slowly begin pulling the Kelsion out of the way.
I grab like at the collar behind his neck and I pull him up.
2 of you together.
Should have moved faster.
Now who stinks?
As you all stand up,
Kel, can I get a bit of healing?
Alright, I want to take out the Luckman's file and hand it to him.
okay.
Down it.
It's just a lesser, correct?
It's just a lesser at this point because I haven't gotten it.
2d4 plus 2, and then roll to see if it's empty.
That's a 5.
So refills.
Yep.
So as you hand him the file and he drinks it, he hands it back to you, and as you close
Plus
the
2,
black
right?
and golden cap, the small file refills on its own silently.
I wonder if I can do this with any other item. Think I can do this with like a drink?
I'm sure you could. With alcohol.
As a player, I know that for a fact, but as DATH'TAN, no. I mean, I'm pretty sure.
If you accomplish that, let me know. I'd be very much
I mean,
interested.
maybe ask some sort of enchanter.
You could
maybe.
have asked what's
That'll be
his
a thing
face
for
from
later.
that one store that one time.
No, he confuses me too much. I don't trust him.
I like him.
Yes, I do too, but
He.
Okay, to get back on topic, DATH'TAN, which way?
Your perception check.
take a big ol' smell.
Winter dog, which way?
I hate you. 14.
14. The smells are potent here.
Very potent.
And by the way, as you stand here, I gave a brief little synopsis, but there's this almost small, you're pretty much standing where you think the waterway should be running. It's technically just these rectangular sections of almost just like these perfectly carved waterways. As you stand, there is this tiny little curled out half-cylinder dip that's right in the center of it. And it itself, like after this, has these two little sides that just seem to carry extra sewage and just lining that takes the edges. And apparently we lost music.
That was me.
Gotcha.
Don't worry about it.
No problem. But on top of this, there is then two sides. Like you see two paved sidewalks that are raised up on the sides about 4.5, 5 feet from where the sewer water should be running. And you guys are standing maybe in like a centimeter or two of water. Like this stuff looks blocked up or has been blocked up, or perhaps this just isn't a used waterway anymore. However, like 4.5, 5 feet, there are these paved sidewalks. The worked sand square cut stone that makes these tunnels arches over you and just seems to stretch on. And from where you're standing, about 40 feet ahead of you or 50 feet behind you before taking a sharp corner, beginning to go. And up ahead of you seems just to split off left and right and then continue forward before curling right itself. So this is a bit of a unused maze. As you stand, all of you pretty much mucked up and dirty, besides COIL, who managed to get himself up without splashing himself into sewage water too heavily. You seem to have many options before you. With a 14, it's pretty tough.
It's hard to distinguish.
Yeah, right now you don't really have any. You smell it, but the smells are all around you. You figure that these beasts may have scouted here before, and it's just not helping the fact that you kind of need to be tracking one, but you smell the scents pretty much everywhere. And at this point, it's harder with the potent smell of urine and feces to be picking up on anything. Yes, Sam?
What kind of check would I make to see if there are any tracks or signs?
Survival.
Oh.
Yeah, that is a survival check. Yes.
Anybody have a good survival?
If you want to make a survival check instead of perception,
Yeah.
to see if you can't pick up the scent again.
I've got a decent survival.
Like I said, I allow normally 2 or 3 on a single check. So ANETH, if you want to join in on that, or
Yeah,
SAAKA, if you want to join in on that.
I'll do it.
You're a bit of a hunter.
I'll do it.
22?
Because I was tracking them beforehand.
8?
Could I have?
Roll the 2 plus 6.
Could I?
With advantage?
I don't get advantage on survival. Only on
that's
perception.
right. That's right.
I was gonna ask, could I, as Cedric,
If I'm tracking
cast
it.
guidance on SAAKA? Because she hadn't rolled her roll
Her
yet,
dice
so I was
yet.
gonna.
Okay,
do
so you
that.
get a d4. Cedric comes up behind you, pats you on the back. Do you got anything? As ANETH begins to step forward a little bit, her being the first one. She's like putting her hands on her hip, her cloak like flailing at the sides and slowly flowing. Which, it is strange, there is airflow here. Like there is just this small gust of wind that's coming from what seems to be north ahead of you, ANETH, as you walk forward. This is survival.
Survival.
Okay.
As DATH'TAN, you're still trying to catch a whiff of the air. You're not really paying attention to much else.
Would these be counted as undead or no? Definitely not. Okay.
Those
Then
were not
no.
undead that you fought.
Then no, I do not get advantage. Because I'm definitely sure they aren't Fae or Fiends.
Nope.
So,
They're ugly.
they are ugly, yes.
You get advantage against me.
If I'm tracking you, yes.
Wow.
Let's go play a game of hide and seek.
Yeah, right?
I'll find everyone.
Bet.
21? Okay. So, as you, ANETH, kind of walk ahead, and you go into the crossroads to the left and right, and then ahead of you, you feel the gust of wind, and then you just begin searching. SAAKA, you get down on one knee and just begin to move aside the water, and disgustingly enough, there's just like this thin layer of muck that's within what water level is here, just between a centimeter or so. And it's like sifting through a ill-smelling sand. But as you like just begin to not quite touch it, but just move your hand across the edge, you begin just ahead of you to see what looks to be the paw prints of this dog. And as you stand up and begin to follow, Aneth, you've already caught on to that as you were looking at the ground with your hoof mark. You also see it. You look right as SAAKA walks up behind you, and the two of you just begin to see the trail.
I'm like
ahead
rubbing
of
my
you,
nose, like
moving
trying
right.
to like get that like stinging sense in your nose out, just like
Mhm.
Okay.
I just kind of wave people to follow. So I'm hyper focused.
You do also see, with just a slightly higher check, that as SAAKA kind of is pointing at it and you're nodding, already kind of silently agreeing with the pause, you do see that there's just like a drop of blood that's within the water every few feet.
I'm going to mention that.
Okay. So as you all like walk up, you see SAAKA points out that just within this dark grayish black water, there is just this tiny crimson red speck that's within the waters every dozen feet or so.
And we will continue.
Okay.
Let's move forward.
Can I get a marching order?
I think that might be
I'm
like
leading.
Yep.
really fresh.
Like SAAKA and I are right
Leading.
next to each other.
Yeah.
SAAKA.
Is this corridor 2 people wide or just one?
So
Actually,
if you were like in the water walkway, you could probably do 2 people at a time. But like I said, there is a actually built up sidewalk path on the sides of this sewer. So the walkway is probably about 6 feet wide, allowing 2 to 3 walk at a time. But then the side pathway itself is probably 4 feet, allowing maybe 1-2 people at a time. So you can walk on this water walkway that's just a thin layer of sewage that you're walking on, or you can get up on the sides and actually walk the tunnel paths that are like paved sidewalks.
Let's
Aneth
get
is
up.
doing her best to kind of look past her enjoying being clean to track this.
I'm gonna go
Beast.
along the sidewalk.
Yeah, I'm going up on the side.
So yeah, as you get up onto the work stone to the now gray paved sidewalk, you look at this just half-cylinder arched tunnels, and you begin to travel to the right. As you reach the end of this one, there's one off to the right, one off to the left, one going straight.
Okay. Should I make another survival check?
Sure. Anyone else who wants to join in on that?
My survival isn't great. I mean, it's not
15.
horrible.
Nice. An eraser. I don't know if I have one. No, I do. Anyone else going to make a roll?
For survival?
I can.
I don't have
11.
I have 0.
I have 3.
11.
Someone else do it.
Roll 5 plus 6. So now my dice hit me. That's fair.
He figured out you did something to his dice and he transferred it to
If
you.
only we had,
He Uno reversed me.
yeah, if only we had like a ranger or something in the party.
21.
21.
It's the second part of my last name.
We're fair point. I mean, in addition to the blood hunter.
This
No,
time,
there's trail of
Aneth,
blood. Why are you
as
not able to track me
you begin
down?
stepping forward, you're looking straight and you're seeing that if there are tracks, they are
Taste test?
old, you feel, like as some of this sort of mucky layer has sifted over. Kelsion, as you're like looking her, who's still standing in the waterway with SAAKA. SAAKA is just looking over her shoulder. You look to the right and you see the continuation of this blood and more fresh print trail that's in the waterway. And at this point, you do see that there are footsteps of what looks to be a humanoid along with it at this point.
Okay. Foot.
To the right, you can already see that there's maybe a few dozen feet before there's, unlike what is just these sharp cuts of corners and trail along paths, there is like this tunnel. Like there's a break within the pavement in the walkway, and there's just this carved tunnel that hooks off to the left from this right hall that you would enter into. and then it just continues onward forward.
So yeah, first
You're still
pointing out,
holding a twig in front of you, so that's why you see this as well as you do.
first pointing out the right side footprints and down that way.
Aneth and SAAKA, who are still in the waterway. CAEDRIK, who's climbed up with you guys, kind of looks
Satyrs
over
on right side,
Okay.
sidewalk.
on the right side. You all look to the right and you see these still fresh paw prints, a drip or so of blood every so often, but then the humanoid footprints that seem to be following with this beast.
Okay.
You do, I will say to note that the humanoid footprints look just slightly bit older, almost like this beast caught onto its own master's trail and began to walk.
Okay. So yeah, just I guess following down that path.
Down the hallway.
As you begin to walk and follow, you see that there is a barred and iron gate that is taking up the entire surface and circumference of this pause with what would be the left side pathway if you turned right. So if like CAEDRIK hopped into the waterway with COIL, they are on that one, and they actually like take pause as it is almost like sunken down. It's almost like you walk down to it. So for them, the drop would no longer be like 4.5, 5 feet. It's more like 9, 10, as there's just this tunnel that is now an iron barred gate and a locked closed door. But you see that the footprints along with the paw prints turn and seem to end as there is just a set of stairs, stone stairs leading down to this iron door.
Out of curiosity, does that look like it was a... No, that would be more of a CAEDRIK question. Or at least a CAEDRIK focused question.
Sure.
Would be, does it look like that was part of the original design, or was it added afterwards?
CAEDRIK can make a check for stonework, I guess.
Yeah.
Make a history check for CAEDRIK. Dwarves know sort of things like this.
So that's... Let me check to see if he has any proficiency on it. He is proficient in history, so that's... 15? Yeah.
15? Okay.
So I'm trying to figure out with the
of course.
proficiency, double proficiency thing.
CAEDRIK, who's like kind of holding on to COIL, so COIL doesn't just like walk right off the edge. He hops down onto the normal sewage water pathway, goes to the stairs, trail downwards. He steps down. The water seems to have like gone down on each of these steps and it's stained it black. This sort of a sandish lime green stone has just turned completely dark as he walks down, and he looks at the stonework that's around the iron bars, almost to that of a prison cell with a small door. He goes, This was originally made with this. This is real deal. He gives the door a shake. It seems to be locked. You see that past this door, it seems just to be this tunnel that, although water has trickled in, it now contains much more of the original sandish limestone color as it continues on, and steps lead up into what seems to be the central hub. And from just this dark hall, there's this flashing light that suddenly comes from what seems to be the room ahead. This pink, purple, emanating light that fades in and out.
So, door's locked?
Yeah.
You or me? DATH'TAN, you or me? Who's unlocking this thing?
I'll do it.
Proficient with use tools?
Yeah, I never
lockpicking kit on me.
Really?
Yes.
You're proficient in
I'm
these
pretty sure
tools?
Pretty sure.
I
4
would make
people
sure.
have.
I was gonna
these
say,
tools.
I'm proficient at lockpicking and breaking down doors if they don't
Yeah.
unlock.
So how are we gonna solve
Who's
this?
doing
Rock,
that?
paper, scissors?
4-way rock, paper,
Well-
scissors.
Each one of us tries. If no one can get it open, I'll just break it open. How about
Well,
that?
there are you want to just walk down.
Yeah, I have thieves tools.
And go.
Yeah, thieves tools on me, and
Go
that
ahead
lets
and
me
try
add my
that then.
proficiency 2
You-
checks.
I guess
that
I'll
pull
try
out
next.
lock picking kit.
Which would be
Kelsion falling.
sleight of
full
hand,
damage.
correct?
Door coil.
Slide hand with proficiency.
I use mage hand.
And if you already have
Oh,
proficiency,
that's
then you just
Yeah.
roll.
Aneth is waiting behind Kelsion eagerly, like digging through her bag for her tools.
That would be a
Well, I was like, what are you doing?
19.
I just want to be
19.
useful, man.
With down on one knee. The door opens.
I could have did it faster.
Scrapes slightly across the stone. Takes only probably 20 seconds, something like that. You
Oh, I
fiddled
could've
around
done
with
it
it a
way
tiny
faster.
bit before.
I just need a little running room.
Well,
That
you
would
two
also
were
be louder.
bickering, so
And we'd find what we were looking for.
yeah, but they would know.
It
that's
would
where
find
shit-
us more likely, rather than we find it.
Either way, it's
Alright.
gonna know we're here eventually.
So, I guess once the door is open,
Let's get going.
how narrow is this area?
This tunnel is actually pretty wide. We're talking like roughly 12 feet side to side as you open.
I'm going to
The
cast.
dip down just added a few feet, but the width of it was actually gave pause to the stone path end to end.
I'm going to cast Pass Without a Trace, making sure I hit everyone in the group.
Okay. So, stealth checks as you continue forward.
'Cause at this point, we're in enemy territory.
It's plus 10 and then stealth, right?
Well, it's just
plus
do your
10.
stealth, then add 10 to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever your stealth check is, then add 10.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the first good roll. Cedric's head for stealth.
Okay, going around the table.
30.
27. 23.
36.
So let me pull up Cedric's real quick because
Sure.
I want to get his out of the way.
Sure thing.
Cedric got a 30.
Something's happening. 30?
Yeah,
Wow.
with a nat 20.
Nice.
And then for me,
It is disadvantage on him for plate armor.
let me re-roll that one dice in
sure.
just a second. Yeah, because I forgot what I normally do, which was give him advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well. I'm rolling well today, so hopefully that keeps up. Alrighty. 35 for me at least.
Okay. 35. All of you. It is a dead silence as you are all just slowly walking forward. Some of you guys getting a spell ready in mind. Others that are like kind of twitching their hand towards their nearby weapon just in case for the quicker draw. As you
28.
draw closer, the light emanates ever so softly in this tunnel till you hit the steps that begin to lead you up. One by one, Can I have a marching order, please?
So DATH'TAN opened the door.
Yes, I open the door, and
I'm gonna be centralized in the group at least.
Are we behind
Coil?
I don't know. Yeah.
Alright.
Sage can
Okay, so DATH'TAN, ANETH, KELSION, COIL, SAAKA, Satyr.
Yes.
As you step up, this place is wide. It is big. But it's unfinished. As you step up, you seem to be in yet another waterway. There is no paved sidewalk paths to this room, but this one shoots out forward this empty waterway and makes a T. As it hits the walls, it stretches up higher and higher. You look and you think this place could be some sort of dump or sewage place, or maybe this just was never finished, an unextended part. But as you look at just this baseless, empty room of limestone and sand-colored walkways that you have before you, the steps that you take, the stone is cool. The smell is still bad, but it's more or less coming from behind you. But it's what's dead center in this room that brings just that little bit of fear in you once again. A strange, weird, yet familiar sack sits in the middle of this room. The two weirdly colored petals overlap one another right in the middle and center of this unfinished construction part of a sewage room. It makes a bulbous sack-like shape. As you look closer, it's made out of skin, layered over each other with blood slowly oozing out of it, looking tightly wrapped, almost woven together. These finger-length teeth at the ends of the skin flap wraps around each other and intersects. The sack remains closed, like a seedling to a flower that remains tightly shut. It moves ever so slightly, like it's breathing, slowly moving in a pattern like a body of a sleeping human. Roots that look like human veins stretch down, cracking between the square stone into the earth. A steady flow of what seems just to be energy or blood flowing into it. Standing in front of it are three figures. Two lie cut open and dead. That what looks to be a human man, old, heavily weathered and creased face, scraggly, dirty gray and white beard that drops down to the center of his chest, his left eye missing but not seemingly a killing blow. It's just simply an empty socket that is looking into his head. The other eye is pale blue, wide with shock, looking strained. His dirty brown cape and cloak is more mud than material, and a dark shirt and pants reveals torn shoes. His smaller hands look leathery and tough. There seems to be another one of these beasts lying next to him, cut open from the neck. What stands in front of the open portal, scraping across the ground, that's what came out of the portal. Big book thrown on the ground.
In studio effects, wow, we're really
Yeah,
up
I
their
know.
budget.
You see what looks to be a hand, but only with three appendages, three massive fingers that drag against the ground. The skin torn, overstretched, and ripped in some places, revealing bone that just continues to stretch until the final part that drags across the ground like this massive claw in three different places. From the forearm and parts of the shoulder and muscle and where both the bicep and tricep would be, it's just split bone that separates and is jaggedly poking out of the skin. The body is that of like malnourished and tightly fitted together from the ribs and chest of this creature. It breathes, but the muscle and skin barely moves within its stomach and lungs. From its mouth all the way down to where its clavicle would be, it is torn open on either side, revealing that of a mouth. Teeth that line the sides of the skin as it breathes. It opens, and part of the lung even opens up with it, looking like it could devour an entire humanoid's top half in one single bite. The skull that sits atop its head just slowly turns with two bloodshot eyes of humans that look place to place, side to side. Around its waist is a long black just cloak or cloth that hangs, belted together by several different chains that are wrapped around itself. As it steps forward, it just eyes lock onto you. You see that with one movement, the nails or the claws seem to strike and drag across the stone floor, just waiting, staring at you. Moving over to SAAKA, ANETH, CAEDRIK, COIL, KELSION.
Even through this.
You are untrained. Go ahead and roll a... You are not as trained as CAEDRIK is, I'll say. Go ahead and roll a religion check for CAEDRIK. Your origin is not that of being trained.
No,
in the
it
official
is
church.
not.
Yours is much more... less disciplined.
Well, at least she's a +1, 16 for Satyr.
You see that he kind of like... He's standing hand on shoulder of COIL. Kind of looks around and he goes, I didn't pay attention too much in the past. That, I know, isn't very good. It's mutated from what I think it is. As he steps in front, he goes, get ready.
Think we can take it?
I think we can hold off until help arrives. We just gotta keep it busy.
Okay. Okay.
It just stands there, looking about, eyes darting. It's not making a move, just simply standing in front. From the portal, you're already beginning to hear some certain low bellowing cry from it, as if something is moving towards it.
Does it-
Before it kills us?
We need to take out that thing before someone spits out again.
Does it look like there's one person that is focused on the portal? Like one person that is actively keeping the portal open?
No, as I was saying before, the human and the Keltisk are dead.
Oh, okay.
They have been cut open.
That's my bad. I was...
So that thing's the only other
It is the
living
only
thing
living thing
no.
in this room besides this.
Besides the weird flesh harp.
Yeah.
Well,
Sack of flesh.
living.
Yeah, that is a very broad
Animated.
term.
The only animated thing in this room, aside
right.
from the.
Alright.
Unlike the other one that seemed to straight up attack you, this one seems much more defensive and even challenging as it strikes its claws against the ground,
And
stepping
it-
side
yeah.
by side in
It
front
sees
of
us,
it.
right?
Yes, its
Oh.
eyes are staring at all of you. It's just back and forth, waiting for someone to take a step forward.
There
Is it
goes
like
that stuff
As you're
check.
all in a fire line. It's not like chameleon, but it's just dragging almost the line that you've created in this fire line of you stepped up. It's more or less just waiting for someone to step up to it, as no one has made another step forward.
Aneth slowly reaches for her short bow. And
As
do a
you
sleight
begin
of
to
hand
reach
roll.
for it.
Yeah, I'm also
Sure.
slowly reaching
Make a
for
sleight
my
of hand. Sleight of
hand
hand if you're
crossbow.
trying to be sneaky.
Satyr already
How
has
do I
his weapon
use
out
these
or no?
dice? 13.
Cedric was going for his hammer, but he hasn't quite pulled it yet. 16?
13.
13.
22.
My sleight of hand is +9. I rolled a 4.
Oh no! Those dice.
I was so
The
confident.
two
I
of you
was
begin
not
to
gonna
reach
see
and
it.
successfully sneak one hand. As you sneak your hand under your cloak, Aneth, you have your short bow. And DATH'TAN, as you reach back, just moving your hand under your satchel, you feel and find the grip of your hand crossbow.
I slowly gesturing and pulls from my hand saying, shoot the heart.
There's a layer of flesh as you realize it's like a almost flesh flower that's protecting the heart of this
still
thing. You can
potentially
attack
damage it, yeah.
Well, I'm gonna knock an arrow and let it loose.
As soon as she...
As you two... As it held its action.
Oh, great.
I'm praying.
I would like... So, kind of the idea is standing in a fire line.
I really should have opened this up as a very Satyr move. Shadow with Channel Divinity.
Yeah, you should have.
ANETH, DATH'TAN, KELSION to make dex saving throws. As from this thing's chest, it shoots this hot, fiery vomit of blood at you.
Lovely.
As you stand about 15 feet in front of it. Okay.
11.
Oh.
My dice failed me again.
Yeah, so did mine. You're
Alright,
so
for
good,
future
though.
saving throws, I
It's
have
either
all my
really
uses
good or
of Bardic Inspiration.
save?
No,
Yes.
all but one of my uses of Bardic Inspiration still, so...
What is it?
That's a 19.
Call it out.
19?
Yeah.
That succeeds. Half damage.
14 plus 5.
Oh no, that sounds like a lot.
I know.
Yeah.
It just sounds like a lot of
I don't
dice.
like how it was rolled twice.
He's going for a third. Shit,
Okay,
nice.
ANETH,
22 points of fire damage
Oh.
to DATH'TAN and ANETH, and 11 for KELSION. Reduced to 6.
I'm resistant to fire.
Okay, so 11. And you take 6 points of damage,
Yeah.
KELSION.
ANETH's funeral is next Sunday. I hope you guys please dress in black uniform.
As it does,
bring
you see that
flowers.
from this chest and mouth, as blood drops from it, you hear this low guttural, "Come, let us see what you are made of." As it takes one step forward.
And it
We're
takes,
going to
like,
pick up next week.
6 steps.
I'm really angry now.
Hit us in the
Nope,
no more. We're good for today.
Man.
GG.
Thank you all for joining us.
That was
See you all
fun.
next week.